Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of KJ's What Happened. I hope you made it through Thanksgiving safely. I know most of you probably celebrate it. We do too. My family does. It was good. It was a good time this year. Great food, of course, as always, which is nice. Good to see some of the fam that I don't really get to catch up with that often. So on our end, it was good. So I hope you guys had a good one as well. I had a couple videos that I was wanting to have completed this past week, and of course I haven't yet. I don't want to say of course like this happens all the time, but I was close. And anyway, I've just got some extra stuff I'm doing on both of them, so at least one of those will be up in the next few days. Hopefully both will be up this week. I also put up a new couple videos over on my website, Who is KJ Osborne? So if you want to check those out. One of them's called Satan Loves the Little Children. I get surprised sometimes by the videos over there because it's hard to track how many views these things are getting. I'll usually create the video somewhere other than YouTube, and then I'll link it up to my website. And because most of them that I do on my website have copyright issues. But the way I can tell is I have a link for Facebook, and I can see kind of how many people shared it and liked it or whatever. And this Satan Loves the Little Children, after just like a day, it's got like 352 shares, which is awesome. So, and I'm not saying it's awesome because I'm some kind of a view queen or, this is how I get my self-esteem. It's nothing like that. I thought it was a good video, really hammers home a point there, and a lot of interesting and very important footage. And I'm really glad it's getting out there because it's shocking stuff. It can be very shocking. A lot of the things I do, I know can rub people the wrong way or be a little bit shocking, sometimes. But when you're exposing evil, you have to show some of the evil, and then we put it into context. I'm probably rambling a lot, especially when new people show up. If this is your first time, you're like, who is this guy? What's going on? What are we doing here? Chop, chop. Let's get busy. It's Tuesday night. I've got things to do. Hang in there. We're getting to the good stuff. I just wanted to say hi and catch up with everybody here real quick. But thank you for being here. Hope you're all doing well. Let's go ahead and get started. Have you heard about this right here? Google reveals plans to monitor our moods, our movements, and our children's behavior at home. What could go wrong? And this will be part of a bigger video I'm working on as well. I always share, like I said, I'm finding these things every week. So a lot of times the stories I'll share here will start linking up to other things I've shared a few weeks ago, and then I start creating videos. It's kind of one of the ways that works. Patents recently issued to Google provide a window into their development activities. While it's no guarantee of a future product, it is a sure indication of what's of interest to them. What we've given up in privacy to Google, Facebook, and others thus far is minuscule compared to what is coming if these companies get their way. These patents tell us that Google is developing smart home products that are capable of eavesdropping on us throughout our home in order to learn more about us and better target us with advertising. What could go wrong, right? It goes much further than the current Google Home speaker that's promoted to answer, does it say promoted? Probably meant programmed, right? To answer our questions and provide useful information. And the Google-owned Nest thermostat that measures environmental conditions in our home. What the patents describe are sensors and cameras mounted in every room to follow us and analyze what we're doing throughout our home. That sounds wonderful. Doesn't that sound nice? They describe how the cameras can even recognize the image of a movie star's image on a resident's t-shirt, connect it to the person's browsing history, and send the person an ad for a new movie that star is in. I got to read that again. That's crazy. They describe how the cameras can even recognize the image of a movie star's image on a resident's t-shirt, connect it to the person's browsing history, and then send the person an ad for a new star is in. Oh, wow. Nothing creepy about that. One patent reads, according to embodiments of this disclosure, a smart home environment may be provided with smart device environment policies that use smart devices devices to monitor activities within a smart device. They say smart device a lot here. I feel like I've said it 5 times in this paragraph. Within a smart device environment, report on these activities and or provide smart device, there it is again, control based upon these activities. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 lines in a paragraph, and like 25 times I had to say smart device. So clearly they want to monitor us and report back what we're doing. I'm going to expand on this in the video. Like, this is one of those that I've been working on a video for a while about some of these subjects with Google and the way our homes are going to be in the future and things like this. And this falls in perfectly with that. So we'll explore this a little more in the near future. Let's see what else it says here. So in other words, the goal is to track us throughout the home, observing who is in each room, where we are moving, and what we are doing. What's of note is the patent that was awarded to one of Google's star teams associated with the development of the Nest thermostat, a breakthrough product with a microphone. All right, we get the idea. You can look into that if you're interested. Google reveals plans to monitor our moods, our movements, and our children's behavior at home. What could go wrong? It sounds delightful, doesn't it? This is awesome. It's just a bit of good news. A little bit of holiday good news. An anonymous man calling himself Santa picked up the tab for Walmart customers in Vermont. They don't know his name. They don't really know anything about him except that he's a Patriots fan. I guess that's the guy right there. It's his back. But residents in Derby, Vermont are grateful for a secret Santa who walked into a Walmart store on November 15th and picked up almost everyone's tab, including the charges on layaway items for customers who weren't even there. Shopper Julie Gates snapped a picture of the mysterious man who paid for her purchases that day as he was walking away. His face isn't visible, but he's wearing a New England Patriots jacket. Patriots. Wonder if that's a coded message for us, or maybe he's just a Patriots fan. As she approached the register with a delivery box, a man asked her if she was putting anything on layaway. She said yes, referring to her package, but that she wasn't done with her shopping yet. The man told her he'd wait until she was done and pay for everything. I kind of chuckled and thought, this guy must be crazy, she said. So Gates went around the store shopping for holiday gifts with her mother and son like she had planned. Sure enough, when Gates came back, the man was still there waiting for her, and when her account totaled $199, he used his card to pay. I said, who can afford that? And he said, Santa can, Gates said. That's cool. I like that. I don't care about the Santa thing. I think it's cool that this dude's just paying for people's stuff. Yeah, it's nice. Don't you ever do anything like that? I'm sure some of you do. I do this thing quite a bit and I haven't thought of it in a while. It's actually been a few months since I've done this. But when I see stories like this, it reminds me that a lot of times if I'm going through a drive-through, and I did this at Starbucks last time, but when you're going through a drive-through, I'll ask, what the person behind me, what their total is. Just because you don't want it to be something astronomical, but if it's reasonable, it's like, well, hey, let me go ahead and take care of theirs as well, and because I've had that happen to me. Haven't you guys been in a drive-through, you pull up and someone's like, hey, that person ahead of you took care of your bill for no reason, right? I mean, it's just a nice thing to do. It's kind of cool. It's a nice surprise for people. It's almost like gambling, gambling on who gets that blessing, I guess, that hopefully God will direct it to the right person. Somebody really needed you to pick up their tab that day or something. Who knows? But anyway, so I try to practice that kind of random acts of kindness myself. But I'm not going to go into Walmart anytime soon and pay for everybody's stuff. Don't get me wrong. But I do think that's really cool. Gates said she didn't even notice the man at first because he looked like a, quote, normal, everyday, average guy, but she believes his act of kindness will go a long way. I know there's a lot of people in the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont that were absolutely helped so much 2 times. So it's super absolutely. Gates said, referring to the state's northeast corner. A lot of these articles are written really bad. Have you noticed that? They're written badly. Happens a lot. This is CNN. We expect more out of CNN, right? Okay, maybe we don't. CNN's garbage. But Still, back to the story. Gates said, referring to the state's northeast corner, the kindness means even more during the late fall and winter, she said, when heating bills are on the rise. Okay. When she asked the man for his name so she could thank him, he said Chris Kringle. Let's see, I think I jumped ahead. After she posted about the act of kindness on Facebook, Gates said other friends and neighbors responded to say the store had let them know their layaway charges had also been paid for. One couple Gates talked to in Walmart that day said the man had paid their $800 tab. When she asked the man for his name so she could thank him, he said Chris Kringle. I left the store in awe with tears in my eyes, she said, that some man that didn't know any of us would just walk into a Walmart in a little place like Vermont and pay for everyone's layaway. It was like watching a Christmas movie, she said. The only message that he would want me to send is be kind to everyone, Gates said. He's an amazing man, and we need more people like him. There you go, guys. It's a nice story. Now let's find some doom. There's got to be some good doom this week, right? There we go. Now we're on our way. Twitter bans misgendering and dead naming in pro-trans move. Let me explain. The social media company has changed its rules to ban the practices and has warned that any user who deliberately targets a trans person in these ways may face permanent suspension. These offensive techniques, which involve using the wrong gender to refer to a trans person or a trans person's old name, are often used on Twitter to insult and erase trans people's identities and rights to exist. Ugh, so gross. It's gross. It's like doublethink. It's like 1984 stuff. So, like, you're going to get in trouble now for just being honest, for just telling the truth. Because if somebody's got, a wiener, down below, they're born with a wiener, that's a dude. That's a guy. That's a man, right? Most of us are on the same page with this. And if you're born without that, down there, it's just like a vast wasteland. There's nothing dangling. There's nothing hanging down there. Not to be gross, guys. It's just, this is biology 101. KJ style, I guess you could say. It's a vast wasteland down there. There's nothing going on. Then you're a woman. So guys have something down there. Girls don't. I'm trying to keep it basic. But in today's world, you can't tell the truth about that. They say they're being erased. We will not be erased. In Twitter's updated terms of service, the company states, we prohibit targeting individuals with repeated slurs, tropes, or other content that intends to dehumanize, degrade, or reinforce negative or harmful stereotypes about a protected category. And why are they protected? They're protecting their feelings? Is that what it is? Probably, because everybody's worried about everyone's feelings nowadays, I guess. This includes targeted misgendering or dead naming of transgender individuals. Again, some guy throws on a dress and some lipstick, calls himself Petunia. If you tell Petunia that he's a man, you're in trouble, at least with Twitter. But of course, this is more of a spirit. This is more of it's a mentality, but it's also more of a spiritual movement that we see this thing happening all over the place. This heavy focus on everyone being a victim, heavy focus on protecting people's feelings, right? Don't want to hurt the feelings. Don't hurt my feelings. Don't you hurt my feelings. So you got a lot of people getting a little feelings hurt. And we have to watch out for that, guys. We can't be running around hurting people's feelings and telling them the truth. You can't do that. So let's see here. Research has shown, I'd like to see the research. Research has shown that some groups of people are disproportionately targeted with abuse online, like Christians, conservatives. Oh, wait, it says this includes women, people of color, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual individuals, marginalized and historically underrepresented communities. And then it says conservatives and Christians and gun owners. Okay, it doesn't. They were left out of this. Okay, so that's kind of weird, right? Seems weird to me. So this includes conservatives, women, people of color, Christians, lesbians, gays, gun owners, bisexual, transgender. Those are left out. Okay, fine. Anyway, that's the story. Twitter's banning. These are the thought police. Someone called the thought police. Twitter's going to ban you for telling Jim that he's not Petunia, that he's actually Jim, and that Jim is a man because he's got. Remember, we went over this earlier because down below he's got something down there. If he didn't have anything down there, then that's a woman. This is biology 101, folks. KJ style. This one's really interesting to me because I did a video. I changed the title of it a while back when YouTube was getting really cuckoo about the names of our videos and stuff. I mean, I barely even use tags anymore on videos. It's like, you really have to kind of work around the algorithm. It seems to have chilled out a bit for now. It's been kind of nice, but still, you never know. So I always play it safe. But I did a video a while back, and a lot of it was about Hugh Hefner. I can't remember the name of the lady. There was an ex-playmate who had written a book all about her experiences there at the Playboy Mansion. And one of the stories that really stood out, and I included this in the video, I think it's called, now I changed it, like I said, I think it's called Watch This and Stop Watching Porn Now or something like that. But I changed porn to prawn, P-R-O-N. See what I did there? Really, that's what YouTube's like now, though. I mean, you've got to kind of do stuff like that. Oops, I don't want to do that. So I know I'm rambling, but let's talk a little bit about this. This is weird. Hugh Hefner filled a casket with sex tapes and had it dumped into the ocean, an insider reveals. Very strange. He reportedly filled a scent-lined casket full of his personal sex tapes and had the whole thing dumped into the Pacific Ocean before his death last September. Hugh Hefner was terrified of the world finding out everything about his past. He had kept a treasure chest of memories of his life with all these beautiful women dating back from the 1950s to the mid-1990s. An insider revealed about the Playboy founder. So I'll tell you a little bit about what was in that video. It's what this other insider had written about, ex-playmate. And understanding some of this, and especially reading through, I didn't cover everything this lady put out in her book. You'll have to look this one up. Again, I can't even remember the name of the book, but I remember it was really wild and chock full of very interesting information when it comes to the Playboy Mansion, and specifically Hugh Hefner. One of the parts that really stands out is that she said that a typical night of sex for Hugh Hefner would be him in his bedroom. He would literally have a line of women like waiting to come in. Before they come in, of course, they all had to take showers, and they all wore like pink or something like that, like pink little bikinis or pink underwear and stuff like that. So they're kind of in a line there, and he's on his bed. He's taking pills to make his stand at attention, if you know what I mean. Trying to keep this basic, folks. This is biology 101. He took some pills to make his stand at attention. Does that make sense? It probably does. So he's in bed, his thing's standing at attention. Beautiful women are waiting in a line to come in and have sex with him. They come in like one at a time, and then they'll get on top of him, and then, it's like the whole birds and the bees thing. They do what they do. What's even more interesting is that as this is happening, he has big screen TVs on his walls all around his bedroom, and on those big screen TVs, he's playing gay porn, man-on-man type stuff. So he's watching all these dudes doing stuff to each other. He's got these pills to make his, stand at attention, and he's got beautiful girls coming in, we'll just say sitting on his lap, and then getting up, and then sitting back down, and they do that a bunch. Okay, guys, again, I'm keeping this simple. This is biology 101, all right? So, yeah, nothing weird about that, nothing strange. I'm sure Hugh's got nothing to hide. Wouldn't you like to get your hands on these tapes? Now, I don't mean that in a perverted way, so you can look at dirty things and do dirty deeds with yourself. I mean, I want to know the secrets, you know? I even wonder if there's like snuff type stuff for real, mind control. You learn about some of the mind control, maybe techniques. Um, who knows? Probably a lot of celebrities implicated in some of these tapes doing things that their grandmas don't know they do. So, it'd be interesting to get your hands on that treasure chest. If I was like Bruce Wayne and just had tons of money and could just do whatever I wanted to do, like so much so you could even create yourself into kind of a hero or like a superhero. I mean, I would go on an expedition and try to find this thing. Be very interesting to see what kind of secrets are on those tapes. Know what I mean? At one point, the source shared in the 1990s after Pamela Anderson had had her sex tape with Bret Michaels surface, and then one with Tommy Lee, the late Gentleman's Magazine publisher drew very concerned his personal and private items would be stolen and sold around the world. Okay. He got so upset and paranoid that he decided it was best to have them disappear, the source explained. He didn't trust people to burn them in case they got stolen, so he charged Joe Piastro with getting rid of them in the ocean. Joe had been his trusted head of security for years and had saved Hugh from many embarrassing situations in the past. Hugh explained that he didn't want anyone's lives, marriages, or careers to be destroyed by what he had in his library. Joe did it and never told anyone. Anyway, I think that's an interesting little mystery there. What was on those tapes? Who was implicated? I think that this is from last week. My bad. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Mummy, I see dead people. These children all have invisible friends who really existed and can give details about them that they would have no way of finding out for themselves. The story reads, my 3-year-old daughter Rosalind is happily chatting away as we walk through countryside near our home. She's telling me about her morning at preschool, the games she played, and how she wants pasta for dinner, flitting from one subject to another in her usual excitable babble. I've got a new best friend, she announces. How lovely, I say. What's her name? Tilly. She lives in our house, comes the reply. She's my friend and she's dead. Alex is my friend too. He lives here. He died. His mummy and granddad died too. We play babies together, she announces, before moving on to the merits of strawberry ice cream over chocolate. It's a creepy kid. Hi, Mommy. Meet my new friend. She's dead. Alex is my friend too. Oh yeah, he's dead too. All right, Mommy. She looks like a little creepy little kid. Little creeper. Just kidding. She's adorable. Okay. There's something about the matter-of-fact way she tells me this with the earnest naivety of a toddler that makes my blood run cold. We don't know anyone called Tilly or Alex, nor have I ever talked to Rosalind about death or the afterlife. The most she knows about this subject is when her grandparents' cat was put to sleep, so I have no idea where this is coming from. I've always prided myself on being an entirely rational, practical, and sensible woman. A journalist for the past 17 years. I like facts and evidence. I am not superstitious, nor do I believe in ghosts. Which is just as well. My husband, Adrian, 40, works away in London during the week, so it's largely just myself and Rosalind in our North Devon house, which dates back to the 1500s. Our nearest neighbors are half a mile away, and we live in the middle of a wood. I simply cannot allow myself to be scared by, let alone believe in, the supernatural. But this isn't the first time Rosalind has spooked me. When she was 18 months old, I remember how she pointed to an outside cellar door and was adamant she could see sheep. I dismissed it at the time, but she kept shouting, "Look, Mummy, sheep, sheep." A few weeks later, we walked past again, and she announced with a sad face, "Sheep gone now, Mummy." Although aware our house was built on the site of old sheep farming cottages, I put it to the back of my mind. After all, Rosalind was just grappling with the rudiments of speech. She could have meant anything. But now she's 3 and much more articulate and focused, and she continues to tell me about Tilly and Alex. No wonder I have started to feel unsettled in our home of 3 years. Although I don't believe in ghosts, I would be lying if I said the idea of them didn't scare me. There's so much in life we don't understand, so much we don't know, and there are so many accounts of people saying they've seen things they cannot rationally explain. I decided to do some digging in an effort to convince myself that there is nothing to Rosalind's imaginings. I wish I hadn't. Census records for 1861 show there was a 10-year-old boy called Alexander Turner living here, and records for 30 years later in 1891 list a Matilda Oak, aged 20. Records are patchy from this time, so it's very likely that Matilda was living here when she was much younger. So, see, when I see stories like this, I always think that those are just the identities that the demons chose to speak with the children, or even just sometimes it's adults that see some of these things. But, it's always the kids, it seems. Oftentimes it's the children because of their innocence and they're more accepting, right, to see these kind of things. I'm sure a lot of y'all saw stuff as a child. I know I did. I'd even talk to things. So much so that looking back, I don't even know how much of the stuff was a dream and how much was real. I had some really weird experiences as a kid. And like I said, I know a lot of y'all did too, where you're talking to things that are in your room. And it seems so real. I had some just bizarro things, man. I had this as a kid. One of my, and I mean, I say I was 4, 5, 6 years old. My favorite doll was a Ronald McDonald doll, and it's like it went with me everywhere. I slept with it at night. A lot of times, if I was going to the living room, I'd take him out there with me and hang out. And it's one of those things I just kind of held on to for a long time. I still sleep with it. No, I'm just kidding. Now, this is a long time ago when I was a kid, though. But so for a few years as a child, this was like my security blanket. I had a dream one night that, again, I was like 5 or 6, that he was in a little like hot air balloon in my room, and he wasn't alone. There were like, probably 30 of these things floating over the top of my ceiling, small, miniature, and each one of them had different toys in them, different dolls and things like that, and seemed like they were having a lot of fun, and Ronald was sitting there in the main one right above me, just moving his hand like, come on, and I really wanted to go, and anyway, that was the first real dream I even remember. It was the most vivid dream I remember, and it seemed so real. And later when all that went away, or when I finally woke up, I didn't even realize, was that a dream? Did that happen? I was a little kid, I wasn't sure, but I was really bummed out. I wanted it to happen again, wanted to see it again. Anyway, so enough about me talking to my dolls. Let's get back to business here. So yeah, I don't believe in ghosts like this attached to a home, and now the little girl comes along or whoever it is, and they're talking to this ghost. I typically see this as demons, deceptive spirits, demons playing tricks. That's the way I see it. But I'm old fashioned like that. She posted a bad Yelp review, then her nightmare began. I wanted to look into a little bit of this. It's interesting, man. People can be really, really vicious online, obviously. It's not like that's some amazing statement. I'm sure most of y'all get this, but yeah, it's like people can be vicious, and sometimes you'll find stories like this. It's just okay. Monica Aruhu never thought a bad Yelp review would end up like this. 2 weeks after she posted a blurb about a disappointing bachelorette party venue on Long Island, the cyberbullying in the form of disturbing, harassing, and sexually explicit messages started flooding her Facebook and her wedding website. Aren't you the girl that was giving hand jobs the other night? One user who appeared to be linked to friends of the bar's owner posted, "Thanks for a sloppy, drunken night. She snorts coke off my like a champ." Another anonymous user wrote, "I know this is gross, but this is like very typical. This is a comment section on YouTube. People talk like this, right? That hand job you gave me in the bathroom was amazing," sneered a third man. The harassing messages kept coming as trolls targeted her fiance and threatened to show up at her wedding. "I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. I couldn't believe that it was happening and that it was happening to me," Arujo said. Again, some of y'all have had this. Some of y'all that are listening right now have your own YouTube channels and post things. And I'm sure you've had this too. I've had it plenty of times on this channel. Suddenly out of nowhere, you're getting attacked, and all these channels are up against you for whatever it is, and you're getting hit from all these angles. You're like, what? Where'd this come from? And it's like these coordinated attacks, you'll see that. Arujo isn't alone. For years, people have shared horror stories about business owners and employees retaliating over negative online reviews. While a number of patrons have faced lawsuits, others found themselves the targets of wild, threatening rants. Some were even tracked down on Facebook after the bullies discovered their full names. And one woman allegedly had police called on her because of a negative Facebook review of her gynecology office. On a lazy weekday or weekend in late July, Monica Arujo had jaunted off with 15 other women, including a Daily Beast staffer, to Long Island's idyllic North Fork. They spent most of the day in the sun, lounging by a pool. It wasn't meant to be a raucous affair. We wanted to keep the first part of the Bachelorette calm and relaxing. Around 10 p.m., the group didn't want the night to end. They headed for North Fork Taps and Corks, a craft beer and wine bar. And according to Arujo, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. It doesn't matter. The rustic tap house with a warm wooden interior was mostly empty. The bartender didn't seem to welcome the women's business and was hostile towards the bride-to-be and her sister. The weirdness started when the women wanted to take a group picture. The bartender, who Arujo believed was the bar's owner, Bernadette Buckley — that's a name for you. Bernadette Buckley. I like that name. Rushed over, waving her arms and telling the bride to stop sitting on a ledge. After that, a female patron tried to photobomb the bachelorettes, an antic that misfired with some in the group. The bride's sister told the woman, "It wasn't funny. We didn't like it. We didn't appreciate it." In response, the bartender allegedly warned the women, "I'm shutting this down. You're acting like a bleeping child. Absolutely not. Not happening in my bar." Surprised by the squabble, Arujo walked over to cool things down. "It's not a big deal," she recalls saying to the woman. "Everything is over with." "Yeah, it's over with because I have to tell you 12-year-olds how to act in the bar," the bartender allegedly reported. "If you don't know how to act, you need to leave." I'm guessing that's what she sounds like. I don't know. Arujo decided to stop engaging and let the bride decide when to go. Then she did what many a Yelp user would do. She began airing her grievances from the scene. "I would give 0 stars, but Google doesn't let you," she wrote. "The owner is very rude and nasty. I came here with a bachelorette party with 16 girls. The bar was completely empty aside from 2 people. So we definitely were the only ones providing any type of revenue on a Friday night. As designated driver, I was the most sober person at the bar at this point and did nothing except ask the bartender not to yell at our group. If you want to get yelled at, drink crap drinks, and be in an empty bar, then definitely come here. If not, look elsewhere." That's a good one. Arujo had no idea her 1-star review, which she considers tame, would result in a pattern of cyberbullying, apparently from the bar's supporters. But 2 weeks after the trip, a torrent of vile, sexually explicit posts started to flood her inbox. Strangers stormed the guest book of Arujo's wedding website and even RSVP'd to the event. "Hey, I met you at Taps and Corks. That hand job you gave me in the bathroom was amazing." Okay, so the hand job thing they kept saying, but just get you an idea. I don't want to read the entire thing. It's actually a pretty long article, but that's what you deal with. People think they can say whatever I mean, no matter how foul, disgusting, and cruel it is, just somebody, you're sitting in the comfort of your own home. You're, in front of a computer screen. No one's ever going to know. It just really does bring, I mean, God knows, though. I always think like that too. I mean, God sees all, right? God sees all. So you may get away with this. Some people get away with stuff like this: cyber stalking, bullying, trolling. They get away with it for years, years. Yeah, but there's always, with every push, there's a pull. There's always going to be something's going to come back to us. What you give, you get. And so you can hide in the darkness and be a little dinker, for years and get away with stuff like this. But eventually, it comes back to us. And like you say, God sees all. God sees all and knows. But it doesn't really matter to people that don't believe in God, right? Or opposed to God. But those people will pay a price. If you're wicked and put wickedness out, even if you think you're hiding and no one's going to know, God knows. And everything we put out comes back to us. Okay, on to the next story. There we go. Married man Justin Bieber says he wants to be more like Jesus. Um, this guy, he's an interesting kid. Um, Definitely been used for a lot of programming of the youth, a lot of imprinting they've used Bieber for. He's changed a lot, though. He almost seems like he's trying to break his programming, the way I see it when I see stories on this guy. I wouldn't have even cared as much, but for a while he was hooked up with Hillsong. That it's I call it, to me it's like a New World Order Christianity. It's a New World Order church, but he was hooked up with Hillsong and with I can't remember the pastor's name, but like the main pastor and all this stuff. And then so there for a while, there's a bunch of pictures out there, these guys hanging out, and that pastor's a creep anyway. Again, I mean, first and foremost, what about some modesty? And this pastor is one of these dudes. Runs around with his shirt off, gets a lot of pictures of, even his pants hanging so low you can see like you know, lower abdominal muscles. I don't know. I know that seems random, but I noticed. Yeah, I looked. I couldn't help it. It was like, because the dude's pants are almost, on top of his, and it's like that's a lot of room there just to be walking around in public, especially if you're going to be a pastor, be trying to be as Jesus was, so and that's just getting started on that guy from Hillsong. So I've talked about them in the past. Other people have as well. Just a New World Order, all seeing eye church. As far as I'm concerned. Give me a second here. Let me check this out. Oh, okay. Sometimes I get a text while I'm doing one of my shows. I never know if it's somebody telling me I lost a connection or not. That's why I always watch just in case. So Justin Bieber. So they broke up. He stopped hanging out with Hillsong. Stopped hanging out with the preacher. Moved on to do his own thing. And now he's married. But I always watch him, or at least stories about him, to see what's happening because, I still hold out hope that kind of like what Kanye did. Now, again, how much of Kanye's is real and how much is just a part of the show, it's hard to tell. But, for years, I've always wondered and been in hopes for celebrities to break their programming. We know this stuff's happening. We know that there's horrible things happening in the industry, but I've been waiting for some of these people to break their programming and just start telling the truth. Now, I'm sure they're terrified of that for a lot of reasons. Also, I'm sure they're under the penalty of death. I'm sure that they know they're not supposed to talk about some of these things, because people will come after their family or come after them, the people they love or whatever. But I don't know. I still hold out hope, wondering. And Bieber is always one of those ones I'm thinking, he'd be the perfect whistleblower, wouldn't he? Like he would be the perfect whistleblower. Carl Lentz, that's it. Thanks, Mike. Carl Lentz was the guy's name. So Justin Bieber marked his first Thanksgiving as a married man, saying that love isn't always easy, but adding he was trying, like Jesus Christ, to be more patient and selfless. All right, cool. Again, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's not even a big story. It's just, it's interesting. But then, then you got the whole thing with which you got this footage here. Remember this one? Bieber's eyes in court. That was a big thing. There's back in 2014, right? Let's see. So you see his eyes, and then kind of an anomaly shows up on the eyes there. Sooner or later. Okay, let's get to it, son. Start up the footage there. Maybe this guy's talking. I don't know. All right. There's probably some kind of scary music playing. Okay, there we go. But there's that. So what is that? Come on, play the footage. I'm guessing this guy's like just freeze framing and talking. Let's just play it out, G. Come on. Here we go. Slow motion, scary music, right? There you go. Okay. But yeah, just interesting. I mean, there's different kinds of anomalies that happen with a lot of these people. A lot of it has to do with the way it was recorded. What is it they call it? Gosh darn. Oh, like digital. Difference between digital and non-digital. But that's why you'll see a lot of these anomalies show up on certain types of cameras, and they won't show up on other types of cameras. A lot of people think that it's reptiles and reptilians and all this, but I always see, for the most part, I see a lot of these anomalies as like signs of possession. But I did a video a while back on that myself, showing a bunch of the celebrities, but it shows their center of their eyes turning into slits. That's happened with several of these people. And to me, that's the spirit within them. As for Bieber's eyes, I'm not exactly sure what that was, but I'll be watching, Bieber. I'm a believer. What can I say? Survey: texting a daily source of stress for a third of people. I totally relate to this, man. You know, so doing the kind of work I do here, you get a lot of messages. In the first several years of doing all this, I went through and genuinely tried to reach everybody, emails, messages, whatever it was. But as the years go on and your channel gets bigger and you put yourself in new areas like Facebook or Twitter and this and that, you start getting more and more messages and more emails. And also with your kind of popularity comes the trolls. I've probably banned or blocked from my YouTube easily over 1,000 people. I'm sure easily over 1,000. And this is over the years. So you'll have all that stuff you got to deal with. So as time goes on, man, for me, in fact, it was really bad for a while where I felt like it was all, you're getting like tons of nasty, disgusting things like dirty messages, mean messages, hate. And it's not good for any human to take any of that kind of stuff in. I mean, I'm realistic. I don't want everybody, kissing my ass either. Seriously, I'm not here to be a hero or to be worshipped or anything or be put up on a pedestal either. I like people to be real. If there's issues or we have differences of opinion on things, that's always cool. We can talk these things out. Again, when you're dealing with online stuff, as we saw with that story with the girl being trolled online, you start dealing with some viciousness, man, some bad attitudes and things like that. So for a while there, it was so often that I just got tired of reading messages. So I kind of got to a point where I stopped reading them at all. Last few years, though, I've gotten back to where I'm trying to be better about that. Reach out on emails. A lot of I've been doing that because I've talked to a lot of you. Things like that, man. I'm trying to be better about it. Trying to talk more with you guys, and there's that. So let's see here. Someone from Seattle's calling me. Hold on. Hello? Yes, this is. Oh. Oh, you are? Okay. Yeah. Give me 1 second. Hey guys, this is Amazon that just called me. I'm waiting on a package. I'm on a live show right here, and he's kind of lost. So give me 1 second, okay? Let me see if I can. All right. Okay, cool. Then you'll just leave it at the front door. Is that okay? Okay, I don't have to sign for anything. Okay, thanks. Okay, bye. Sorry, guys. I have a package coming. I did some Black Friday shopping online, and I knew this package was going to show up tonight. It's mainly the Christmas gifts I got for other people. Anyway, random. It's showing up right here in the middle of the show, but I have to answer it because my place is kind of hard to find. Anyway, back to texting, daily source of stress for a third of people. Me not answering messages the way I should, but I've gotten better over the last few years. Now, even with phone calls and stuff, I just like to get lost. I don't like to be found all the time. Sometimes I get really annoyed with even having an iPhone and how easy it is for people to find us. I wish I could just not sometimes just not have a phone at all. But I know that's probably not a cool way to look at things either. I mean, you've got to talk to people, right? You got to be able to be found from time to time, and that's fine. But that's just because of my kind of headspace, because I get really into researching and putting things together, and I'm always working on several different videos at once until they're eventually they all come together and I put them out. So day by day, I'm in my own kind of magical headspace, and I'm researching things and I'm working on videos, and I just don't like to be bothered, a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, I have friends that I love to talk to, and there's a handful of people that anytime they call or text, I'm very excited to see that, even family you want to talk to. But I don't know, I'm rambling. But yeah, so I get stressed out a lot with texting too. I mean, because there's kind of unwritten rules with texting, and I still don't even fully understand all the rules with texting. Like when someone texts you, how long, till you can get back to them? Is it a big deal if you don't? Are they getting their feelings hurt if I'm not texting back immediately? If I don't call someone back immediately, are they going to get their feelings hurt? Are they going to think, and so many things are misunderstood with texting as well. There's a lot lost in translation there, I think. And that happens with me a lot as well. A lot of times people think you're being sarcastic about something and you're not, on texting or whatever. Let's just read some of this. In its earliest days, texting was a simple way to shoot a short message comprised of nothing else but letters and numbers to someone in a GIF, but with photos, videos, emojis, GIFs, and countless other bells and whistles causing so many of us to keep our heads buried in our devices constantly. That was a long sentence. Like, I'm out of breath. Text messaging has become a way of life, so much so that a new study finds that nearly a third of people find texting to be a source of stress in their lives. The 21st Century Messaging Etiquette Report conducted by Viber, a calling and texting app that protects users' messages via encryption, polled 2,400 men and women in the United States and the United Kingdom on their text message habits and attitudes. Americans are known for having fast-paced, on-the-go lifestyles, and our new messaging etiquette report reveals their communications preferences are aligned. They say the rise of mobile has created new opportunities for consumers to connect with friends and family whenever, wherever, but these new platforms have also made U.S. consumers develop pretty strict standards for what they deem acceptable behaviors during online conversations. Among the findings from the 16-question poll, researchers learned that about 31% of participants find texting to be a daily source of stress. 1 in 5 participants agree that texting is so stressful they struggle to keep up with their messages, while 1 in 9 admit they ignore them entirely. But the problem seems to be affecting millennials the most. About 3/4 of baby boomers don't find texting to be stressful at all, compared to 58% of millennials. Perhaps texting makes so many people feel uneasy because we turn to messages for everything, from making plans to hashing out arguments with friends and partners, or even as a way of being intimate with a significant other. Still, just waiting for the response can drive a person mad. While 31% of participants feel that there shouldn't be a time limit on how long one can take to respond to a message, 23% agreed that a response should always be sent back within an hour. 20% felt 4 hours was appropriate, while 16% believe people have to. Let me read that again. While 16% believe people have up to a day to get back to the sender. Okay. That's what we're talking about earlier, right? How long does it take? How long should you take? And when it comes to parents versus friends, most respondents reply to both at the same speed. But 27% say they'll get back to their parents quicker. 20% don't text with their parents at all. Respondents also felt strongly about work-related texts. 30% argue that receiving texts from a colleague about work after office hours isn't appropriate, unless it's an absolute emergency, but 12% say it's not acceptable under any circumstance. Conversely, 24% are okay with work texts after hours. As for what irks people the most when it comes to texting, 32% can't stand when a person vanishes in the middle of a conversation. I've done that. 22% loathe poor grammar, and 19% hate when senders go overboard with acronyms, emojis, and other forms of text speak. I've probably used too many emojis before, too. I am guilty of that. About 18% found sending multiple messages when just one would have done the trick is the biggest annoyance. Sarcasm can also be a pain for some recipients. 26% say texters should leave the sarcasm out of a text conversation altogether, right? Okay, we got it. Got it. This is kind of crazy. Check this guy out. For the last 10 years, the sound of police scanners has served as Thomas Gordon's preferred soundtrack. He doesn't pay attention to every bit of information broadcast from the handful of devices he owns, but there are certain words and conversations he's learned to key in on. On November 7th, the call went out that someone had been shot outside Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks. Then another. Gordon listened to the drone of 911 calls picking up in the background. He realized there was nothing typical about this shooting. When officers went inside and said they were going to need a lot of ambulances, that's when I realized this was a mass shooting. Gordon tweeted from @VC Scanner, his Twitter account that has amassed a following of thousands, alerting many in the area to the shooting, including the first Los Angeles Times reporter on the scene. Jess he had just been about to close her laptop when she saw Gordon's all caps tweet about the shooting. She stayed awake for several hours, anxiously refreshing her feed for more updates. Many in Thousand Oaks shared a similar story of a sleepless night after seeing the tweet that rattled their community. Early on, that not knowing is the scariest part. Within 24 hours, another disaster hit Ventura County, first one fire, then a second. Gordon heard the call for the Hill Fire in Ventura County. As that blaze grew, the Woolsey Fire started to burn in Ventura and Los Angeles counties. As it headed toward Oak Park, Gordon began tweeting. At one point, he worked for 48 hours straight without sleep. He didn't slow down until this weekend. A lot of people are saying that they found my information more helpful than what officials are putting out, he said, or were able to evacuate earlier than other people who evacuated Oak Park after all the gridlock. Gordon, who lives with his parents in Simi Valley, got his scanner 10 years ago and started the @VC Scanner account in 2011. His most recent job was installing chairlifts along residential staircases, but he left his job in August due to chronic pain. Sometimes he heads out to a crime scene or fire scene and shoots video, which he sells to news stations. All right. The main reason I wanted to even share this, that's kind of the good side of technology. I like that there's that good side of technology where you have just regular civilian reporters, regular everyday folks are able to be even better broadcasters, researchers, journalists that provide better footage than all these companies that are worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. This is stories like this, just about a regular person with a phone in their hand, and they're able to do stuff like this. It's amazing. It also reminded me when I first saw this story about something else, like right here when he's talking about he'll go out and film things and he can sell it to the news networks. One of my top 10 favorite movies, just because, again, I really like these whatchamacallit. I like studies of extreme narcissists. Like, no, it's not because I am one. I'm very interested in that subject. I told you guys before about a movie called Proxy. Again, this is a brutal, really freaky, scary movie. But I thought it was fascinating because how it depicted basically a couple of the worst kinds of narcissists you could ever imagine battling against each other, like is the way I'd put it. And it's crazy. Okay. Well, this movie is also about a narcissist or even a psychopath, and it's called Nightcrawler. And Jake Gyllenhaal's in it. And this is one of my top 10 favorite movies because I like suspense films, thrillers, crime type movies and stuff like that. But there you go, Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal. No, not that Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler movie. There we go. That's the X-Men Nightcrawler. There we go. And in the movie, that's what he does. He goes and he gets on the scene first, and like violent scenes, he'll works at trying to be there quicker than anybody else, and he'll film the stuff, and then he'll sell it to networks. Like, this is a real thing. It's like I can't remember the name of the job, but it's a real job people are out there doing right now. Nightcrawler. Amazing movie, though, I gotta say. It's an incredible movie about a fascinating character. And it's even scarier knowing that there really are people out there like this guy. I'm sure of it. Okay, so there's that story. This one's always sad to see stories like this, children killing children. But let's check this out here. I think it's a news story we can watch together. Let's see. All right.
A 10-year-old Chippewa Falls girl is facing charges of first-degree intentional homicide in the death of a 6-month-old boy on October 30th.
The caller indicated that she had discovered a 6-month male who she was doing daycare for was bleeding from the head and was unresponsive.
The district attorney says the girl was in foster care at a home in Tilden, which also served as an in-home daycare, when she accidentally dropped the baby, hitting his head on a footstool, and then panicked.
She was holding the child, and then she had accidentally dropped the child. The child hit his head on a footstool, and then the child started crying, and she panicked and didn't know what to do and didn't want to get into trouble, and then she proceeded to stomp on the 6-month-old's head.
The medical pathologist says the child's injuries were consistent with that of a fall, and also say that the tread marks on the child's head match that of the suspect's shoes.
Later that afternoon, the sheriff's department received a call from medical personnel, a doctor, and indicated that his belief was that the injuries sustained by the 6-month boy was not an accident.
The infant was transported to Gillette Hospital in St. Paul, where he was pronounced dead on November 1st. After follow-up interviews, the sheriff's department says the 10-year-old suspect confessed and is now being held on a $50,000 cash bond.
A sad day for Chippewa County, a sad day for the residents of Chippewa County. My heart goes out to everybody involved.
I was kind of wanting to pause that. I wanted to see.
A sad day for the residents of Chippewa County.
I'll check something out here. Let me see here. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I wonder what influenced this 10-year-old child to kill a baby. When I look at her jacket, the first thing I see is Black Death. It says Black Death, and I don't know what kind of symbol that is, but I always look for these things. So there we go. Kind of fills in the blanks.
To everybody.
That's what the child was, I guess, influenced perhaps by maybe listening to this kind of stuff. Black Death? Anyway. Yeah, it looks like a knife going through a heart or something there. But yeah, 10-year-old kid. I mean, I don't know. I can only kind of look at these things and try to draw some conclusions. But if that is a Black Death and there's a knife going through a heart, whatever the symbolism, that death culture symbolism, and 10-year-old child, and perhaps that's how the demon got in. It's how the demon got into that little head, caused the child to kill a baby. American exorcism. Priests are fielding more requests than ever for help with demonic possession, and a centuries-old practice is finding new footing in the modern world. Anyway, I've covered this subject multiple times. Just these stories keep coming, Louisa Muscovitz appeared to be having a panic attack. It was March of 2016, and Louisa, there it is again, 33. A 33-year-old with a history of alcohol abuse was having a regular weekly session with her chemical dependency counselor in Tacoma, Washington. Louisa had recently separated from her husband, Stephen. When the counselor asked about her marriage, she said she wasn't ready to talk about it. The counselor pressed, and again Louisa demurred. Eventually, the conversation grew tense, and Louisa started to hyperventilate, a common symptom of a panic attack. The counselor rushed down the hall to get Louisa's therapist, Amy Harp. Together, they moved to Louisa Harp's office. where they felt they could better calm her. But once Louisa was there, Harp recalls, her demeanor transformed. Normally friendly and open, she started screaming and pulling out clumps of her hair. She growled and glared. Her head flailed from side to side, cocking back at odd angles. In jumbled bursts, she muttered about good and evil, God and the devil. She told the counselors that no one there could save Louisa. Normally friendly and open, she started screaming and pulling out clumps of her hair. She growled and glared. Her head flailed from side to side, cocking back at odd angles. In jumbled bursts, she muttered about good and evil, God and the devil. She told the counselors that no one there could save Louisa. If you don't have Jesus Christ, and I'm not being funny about this, if you don't have Jesus, please look into it. I'm not a preacher, and I'm not evangelical. But I see what I see. I know what I know. And there's a lot of attacks happening in this world right now. So if you're not protected, get that Holy Spirit, get connected with our Heavenly Father, build a relationship, read the Word for yourself, pray to be guided, because I know the Bible is really boring. At least, before I was awake, I thought the Bible was super boring. But as I've become more awake the last 10 years and I've grown my relationship with God, it's taken on a whole new meaning. But, and to be honest with you, many years ago, I never thought I would get to that point, because I always thought, church was boring, Bible boring, loved God, loved Jesus, just was bored by the Word. I'm being honest, But again, as I've woken up even more to what's happening in this world throughout the years, and grown closer to my Heavenly Father through Jesus Christ, the Word's taken on a whole new perspective. I have a whole new perspective on the Word now, but that's me. Let's keep on here. Let's keep reading. According to Harp, Louisa seemed to vacillate between this unhinged state and her normal self. One minute she would snarl and bare her teeth, and the next she would beg for help. It definitely had this appearance where she was fighting within herself, Harp told me. Harp had never seen this kind of behavior before and wasn't sure what to do. But she knew that Louisa had occasionally experienced episodes in which she felt something indescribably dark overtake her, and that she would read scripture to beat back these states. You need to read Bible verses, Harp said. Her bearing still frantic, Louisa picked up her smartphone and began looking up passages. As she read, she started to calm down. Her flailing diminished. Her frenzied effect ebbed. I don't think I've ever seen ebbed used in a sentence. She vomited in a trash bin, and after that she was her old self again, full of apologies, her eyes wet, her face red. The encounter left Harp baffled about what she'd just witnessed. For Louisa, had a more profound effect, prompting a search for answers that would ultimately lead her away from modern medicine and its well-worn paths for mental health treatment and toward the older, more ritualized remedies of her Catholic faith. Or you could say she's getting into the deliverance ministry, which is awesome. She's getting away from how it's always mental health, right? Oh, they're crazy. She went crazy, or, oh, it's K2, Flocka, whatever it is, they blame the drug, the drug was simply what opened the portal, the way I see these things. So spiritual deliverance, you don't have to do all the Catholic stuff, by the way. If you have Christ, if you have the Holy Spirit, these are one of the manifestations of our Holy Spirit. There's 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit. And if you look into it, if you trust the process and pray about it, maybe you're meant to be a real life demon hunter for the Lord. I know it sounds crazy, and I'm not joking around here. I've wondered about that, thought about it too. I know what my role is and everything. This is what I do, like what we're doing right here in videos and stuff like that. I get what I can contribute, but I've definitely thought a lot about the real spiritual battles like that, like being ready, understanding what the Lord really wants for you, understanding what you need, kind of a battle. being more well versed in the word, which I'm not. Again, I can't quote scripture. So I don't know. I just feel like that would be really important. You're going to need those words if you're going to go into battle with these demons that are running around inside people right now. So anyway, there you go. It's another really long article, but if you want to check it out, it's at theatlantic.com. I'll be including this in a newer video too. It's one of those stories. I don't know what to think about this one. Meet the men offering their sperm to strangers online, but only if they can do natural insemination. Okay. Terry, 39. She got pregnant the second time we had sex. Her husband was in the house when we did it, says Terry, who donates his sperm through natural insemination, also known as unprotected sex. Terry, 39, had met the couple when they responded to his Craigslist ad entitled Looking to Impregnate a MILF. Okay. Classy. Keeping it classy, Terry. Expanding on this, Terry wrote, man wanting to find a hot married MILF to let me cream pie and impregnate her. Love the idea of blanking a married wife with the goal of getting her pregnant. I'm not just going to read the rest of that. That gets really nasty. Anyway, the point is, this guy is really gross, but apparently there's people that are letting him do this. Let's see. Let's see if we can get past some of the... He was really getting gross there for a little bit. Let's see. Would they be willing to contribute financially towards the baby? Perhaps they'd buy the odd birthday present or pair of shoes. Let's see here. I don't know. I'm not liking this story right now. It's pretty gross, to be honest with you. All right, I'll move on. But yeah, creepy. It's creeper. Ruh-roh. World's first robot citizen wants her own family, career, and AI, quote, superpowers. And I've no doubt you shall have them. You've probably seen. I put her in Sophia. I've put her in some of my videos as well. Another fascinating subject to watch, this transhumanism all around us. It's moving fast, too. Stuff's moving quickly. All this, they're already talking about sex robot brothels in America. Like, I mean, it's moving fast. You know what I mean? Growing number of men reporting domestic violence to police. I just always think these cases are interesting as well. It really is a screwed up position that men find themselves in, you know? Because, I mean, things have changed. The world has changed. And I've known, this whole thing with what little girls are puppy dogs and ice cream and little boys are Snells and something gross. I can't remember what that old saying is, but this idea that all little girls are just sweet little things, man, and all women are just super sweet and they're okay, and they're always the victims, but that's just not the case, man. I mean, especially with the permissiveness of this culture now, and as much as the homosexuality thing, the trend, is growing, and you see that in the numbers. Look at the census numbers. You can see more and more people jumping on board. It's still only around 2% or under that, the population, but there's been growth in that, so you start seeing the growth in this. And a lot of this is a lot of cases you'll find a lot of lesbian abuse. There's a lot of stories about lesbians beating each other up as well. You've got a lot of these women who, in some cases with some of these lesbians, basically are starting to act like men, and they look up to men as how they're supposed to act. And unfortunately, a lot of them look up to the very worst aspects of men, because not all of us are abusers, but they look up to some of these guys that beat their girls and keep them in line, and they start doing it to the women too. So I don't know, I'm rambling, but it's best just to stay out of violence altogether. But we're in that whole thing where it's like, and you see it, there's tons of videos online. I always see this stuff where, I mean, the girl can be the most foul-mouthed, disgusting, cruel, vicious creature that's ever walked the earth. swinging on these guys. I've seen these videos, punching dudes in the face, kicking them in the privates and everything else. They get away with it. If that guy raises his hand, pushes her back or anything like that, whoa, look what you did, man. And she can start the cheer. Oh, she hurt me. Next thing you know, it's bye, dude. You're gone. You're gone. There you go. Anyway, it's best not to fight at all. Dudes don't hit girls and girls don't hit dudes. But a growing number of men are reporting domestic violence. Record numbers of men are reporting domestic abuse by their partners to police. As the proportion of women victims turning to police has fallen, official figures have revealed the proportion of male victims who told police about their domestic abuse increased from 10.4% in 2014 to 14.7% this year. Wow. As charities said, more men were shaking off the stigma of talking about their suffering. However, the figures from the Office of National Statistics showed it coincided with a sharp drop in the proportion of women victims reporting their abuse to police, down from 25.8 to 18% over the same period. Isn't that interesting? It's been a flip-flop. It's also very telling of the duality we're in, the as above, so below existence we're in, that everything's literally being flipped upside down, right? It really is. It's like the Bible told us there'd be a time where they would call evil good and good evil. Everything's going to be flipped over and turned around. So another example of that. Mark Brooks, chairman of the Mankind Initiative for Male Victims of Abuse, attributed it to men's willingness to open up to friends and family about their suffering. More men are finding the courage to go to the police, often supported by family, friends, work colleagues. All right, cool. Anyway, there's the story. There's the story. Don't hit each other, guys. It's not nice. I'll come back to that. I kind of want to see what I got over here. Oh, here we go. This is fun. Speaking of AI and robots, let's check this out. I'm leaving the volume down just in case. But that's trippy, huh? I may have to use this in a video, like one of the videos I make over the website. I use footage of things. This is interesting. It looks like a kid. If you didn't know, just first glance, you'd think that was just a little kid, right? And nice. No doubt that this stuff, again, as I said, is moving really quickly. Really quickly. Let's see what we got here. All right, this is a video we can watch together. Oh, this is check this out. This is from our friend Hidden Underbelly 2.0. Check this out.
Scrolling through Finley's tablet as I do, just scrolling through my son's tablet and come across this app. If anybody's got this on their phone, I seriously suggest you delete it because it's not what we all think it is. Let me show you what I listen to. All seems innocent, right?
Hello there. Can you hear me? In the 5 nights, I'm here for you. I will look for you, and I will find you, and I will kill you.
What the hell?
Hear me? In the 5 nights, I'm here for you. I will look for you, and I will find you, and I will kill you.
What the hell? And that's apparently a phone call of Santa. I don't know if you heard it. I'll play it one more time.
Hello there. Can you hear me? In the 5 nights, I'm here for you. I will look for you, and I will find you, and I will kill you.
Creepy, right? We've seen some of this stuff happen before as well. There was the famous magic wand, Dollar General magic wand incident. Remember that? It was literally like a dollar magic wand, a little toy-looking magic wand that you could find at a dollar store. They're selling them at dollar stores. In America, we have dollar stores. And everything looked, pretty much normal, like any, dollar plastic magic wand might. But, there was a star, of course, at the top of the wand. And if you peeled the center little, whatever, peeled the little centerpiece off of the star, underneath it was this demonic child, like an 8-year-old child with, huge fangs and big red eyes. And it looked like really weird. Like it was literally like an actual picture of a child, but they had, messed around with the eyes and made it look like this evil demon child. So very strange. Why is it there? And they pulled those things pretty quick. Like there's a lot of people talking about that one. I remember when that came out. That's not the story I wanted. Let's see. Oh, this one's interesting. U.S. tourist killed by arrow shooting Indian tribe. An American tourist was killed by arrows shot by protected tribesmen living in one of the world's most isolated regions, tucked in India's Andaman Islands, police said Wednesday. John Chow, 27, had taken a boat ride with local fishermen before venturing alone in a canoe to the remote North Sentinel Island where the indigenous people live, cut off completely from the outside world. As soon as he set foot on the island, Chow found himself facing a flurry of arrows. Contact with several tribes on the islands set deep in the Indian Ocean is illegal in a bid to protect their indigenous way of life and shield them from diseases. Police have registered a case of murder and 7 accused persons have been arrested. The investigation in this matter is on. Chow had made several trips to the Andaman Islands recently before finally managing to make it to the remote stretch by offering money to local fishermen. He tried to reach the Sentinel Island on November 14th but could not make it. 2 days later, he went well prepared. He left the dinghy midway and took a canoe all by himself to the island. He was attacked by arrows, but he continued walking. The fishermen saw the tribals tying a rope around his neck and dragging his body. They were scared and fled, but returned next morning to find his body on the seashore. The Andamans are also home to the 400-strong Jarawa tribe, who activists say are at threat from outsiders, who often bribe local authorities to spend a day out with them. The tribes such as the Sentinelese shun all contact with the outside world and are known to be hostile to any encroachers. But I think this is the same story that, let me see, I think this is the same story that Mike from On Point Preparedness covered recently. And let's see. On Point Preparedness. And yeah, I think this is the same one. So I wanted to share this. He's got an interesting perspective on this. It's my friend from On Point Preparedness here, Mike. Check this out sometime, guys. This is it's interesting. He showed the same story. I won't play the whole video here. Let's see. Let's play some. I'm sure he doesn't mind. You can always go back and watch the full thing yourself. Let's check some of this out.
Hey everybody, this is Mike with On Point Preparedness. This news story, to me, is absolutely huge. At least to me. Some people disagree with my eschatological views, but I think you'll find this one very, very interesting as we discuss prophetic events of the end times and what may have been fulfilled yesterday. The man that you're seeing on the right hand of the screen, his name is John Allen Chow, and he was deeply inspired by God to visit this island called North Sentinel Island and declare Jesus to the tribes people on that island. Now, what is absolutely critical to know about this island is this. North Sentinel Island is home to the last uncontacted people on Earth. You'll find a lot of news stories where people have tried to go onto the island and communicate with them, but they are very hostile to outsiders. They will attack with bows and arrows and other devices. And so there is a hostility factor with why people haven't been able to contact or communicate with them. But also, people don't want to go on the island for fear of giving them diseases. There's also reasons for trying to preserve or protect their culture. But again, North Sentinel Island is very well established and known as the last uncontacted place on the face of the earth. So now, why is this news story potentially prophetic, or at least I think highly prophetic? Let's look at Matthew 24:14. It says, "And this gospel of the kingdom of Jesus Christ, shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." Let's look at what happened on this island. In this article, John was able to capture some journal notes before he made a final paddleboat trip onto the shore and was killed by the natives by bow and arrow. His journal entries read, "I hollered, 'My name is John, I love you, and Jesus loves you.' I regretted began to panic slightly as I saw them string arrows in their bows. I picked up the fish and threw it towards them. They kept coming." Basically, he was trying to offer them a peace offering in terms of food. "I paddled like I never have in my life back to the boat. I felt some fear, but mainly was disappointed. They didn't accept me right away." One of the tribe's people, a kid, probably about 10 or so years old, maybe a teenager, fired an arrow that struck his Bible. He wrote that night on board a boat he had paid fishermen 25,000 rupees to let him stay on, moored close to the island. "Well, I've been shot by the Sentinelese." The next day, as he prepared to make another approach, Chow wrote a letter to his parents. "You guys might think I'm crazy in all of this, but I think it's worth it to declare Jesus to these people," he wrote. "Please do not be angry at them or at God if I get killed. Rather, please live your lives in obedience to whatever he has called you to, and I will see you again when you pass through the veil." So powerful. This is not a pointless thing. The eternal lives of this tribe is at hand, and I can't wait to see them around the throne of God, worshiping in their own language, as Revelation 7:9-10 states. He signed off, "Glory to God alone." Now, folks, nothing happens by coincidence. This young man having such a strong and powerful call by God to go to this island isn't just something that's happenstance. This isn't something that you just conjure up in your mind one day. "Oh, I think I'm going to go to the last uncontacted place on earth and preach Jesus to them." No, that is through God. And at least as we look at the situation that we are currently in, with so many end time sites happening all around us, all these wildfires, volcanoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, geopolitical instability between the nations, and the prospects of global war, mass animal deaths. I could go on and talk to you about all the worldly things that are happening in terms of prophecy in the making. And yet now we have this, a potential fulfillment of Matthew 24, where the world has no excuse. The gospel has now been proclaimed throughout the entire earth, throughout all the nations.
Boom, right? Wow. I really like that interpretation. It's interesting. It's very interesting. So, Mike, if you're watching, man, thanks for this video. It's a good one. That's a powerful story. What do you guys think? What do you think about that? What do you think about this? Burger joint closed, 2 employees fired after viral video shows workers cooking a rat on a grill. The fast food restaurant in Honolulu, Hawaii was closed and 2 employees were fired after a viral video showed a rat sizzling on a grill next to a hamburger. Teddy's Bigger Burgers closed its Mapunapunapupu street location for a deep cleaning and fired 2 employees who appeared in the Snapchat video. The video shows one of the employees flipping what appears to be a dead rat on the grill. "We are horrified that a former teenage employee would conduct themselves in that way and make such a video, of which we are investigating its authenticity." Let's see. Gross. Stupid kids. Man, stupid kids. In a statement, Stula said the restaurant will undergo a complete sanitation along with the complete replacement of equipment and utensils. We will then send a corporate team in to inspect and complete a thorough audit of the location before it's allowed to reopen. Man, that is just so gross. Dumb kids. Okay, this is check this out. Unbelievable. So we're talking about earlier, and it's all about your feelings, man. It's all about feelings. And oh yeah, everyone's a victim too. Everyone's being victimized. And, your feelings, man. It's about those feelings. A teacher was caught on camera berating a student for wearing a Make America Great Again hat in class. The teacher lectures the classroom for several minutes on this. Then at the 3-minute mark, the teacher calls the student an a-hole for wearing the hat. This is your tax dollars at work indoctrinating and abusing the conservative kids in class. Let's just watch. Let's watch. This is a classic. Check this out. Let me make this a little bigger here. I'm going to let Chubbs out. I locked him up before the show tonight. That's why it's been so quiet. All right, so here we go.
Maybe that's why rules exist. So that when things are...
So you're admitting...
Like the length of this conversation, so that when things are...
So you're admitting to discriminating against a certain group. No. You just said you're discriminating against a certain group of people.
We do have rules which we push back against all the time, and we bend. And that's part of the nature of a high school. We have to constantly bend rules. All right? And part of that is the nature of who's here and why they're here. And the fact that, like, nothing is so steadfast that we have to be completely to the letter of it. Because it's a sort of a proving ground of seeing what works and what doesn't work and getting ready for the next steps in life. Of which there are just moments in adult normal life where, like, if you do it, if you don't do it, if you're not on the page, if you're not following, like, the decorum of the place, you're fired. Or you're not admitted.
I don't get what that has to do with.
But it has, all what I'm saying is my point is about the nature of rules. And so in this particular case, the very clearly written rule, there are no hats to be worn in school, can easily be applied to ask you to stop provoking people.
I wasn't provoking people. People are coming in and calling me
by the presence.
They're provoked by a hat.
Yes. But there's
That's like
also
a
me just
5-year-old
talking to
being
you
scared
personally
of the dark.
one-on-one to know that you see.
If you're scared of a hat, it's no different than being scared of
being
the dark in the
provocative.
basement
So
as a 5-year-old.
your provocative behavior.
I'm not being
has its
provocative.
intended
You
response.
just admitted that you are all targeting me because of my political views. How am
No,
I
your
the
hat.
one being
Your hat,
my
not your beliefs.
hat?
Yeah.
My hat. What if I find the color, pink offensive?
The color pink
Well,
isn't
there's
racist.
no rule about
What
that.
color is racist?
This is 100% about rules, Nico.
What
All right,
where did racism
Punch
come
to
from?
you in the text.
I think the whole point is you're not.
Nico, you just need to be a bit cool.
I'm really cool right
Take
now.
your hat off. Or get out.
What if
I love that. I would be that kid. Again, this isn't about, being into Trump or blah, 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 or whatever, but I mean, I would definitely be doing the same thing. If I was still in high school and in that same situation, I'd be just as defiant. I think it's wonderful. All right, let's finish this.
if I find it to be like a religious symbol? Well, there's no fine print that defines something as a religious symbol. I could have a pasta strainer as a religious symbol.
The length of this conversation.
That's an actual church. People wear pasta strainers on their head. That's a church.
This isn't what we're talking about. It's taking too much time. So you need to make a choice. All right?
Well, I'm willing to participate and keep going with class. I don't understand what a hat has to do with it. If a
You need
hat
to
is
bring it
getting
up
in the
with
way,
somebody who can help you.
if a hat is
with
getting
your
in the way of
problem.
nearly like 30 young adults, like if
Okay,
a
you're
hat
putting me
bothers
in a
you,
position where I'm either going to gather everybody up and go to another classroom and you can remain here like an asshole, or you can take your hat off, or you can go talk to an AP about it. Now, what do you want to do?
I can't sit here and learn.
Now with that hat off.
Don't we have a freedom to expression and a freedom to education?
I don't care. You do not. You're not.
I do not. So you're denying my rights.
Choose.
I'm choosing to sit here and learn.
Okay. We're going to go elsewhere then. Learn.
Okay.
You may remain here.
Here we go. The whole class is leaving
Oh
because I'm wearing.
There you go. That's the world we're in now. All these people triggered by a hat. Triggered by a hat. But, you know, the system caused that in its own way too, didn't it? Well, just as soon as I let Chubbs out, he's being terrible again. Hold on. Come here. You gotta go lock up. Sorry. They never learn. They never learn. Mel B's ex-lover says Spice Girl's pet goat. It's always the goat. Pet goat Phyllis watched them romp. I'm not even going to read the story. I could care less about Mel B or her romping or whatever, but it just always seems like the goat turns up every week in one of these stories somewhere. No surprise it's with a celebrity and associated with sex anyway, like Pan. Anyway, there you go. Pet goat. Pet goat. Dad forced son 11 to have sex with stepmom to cure, quote unquote, cure him of being gay. Yeah, that's the wrong way as well, I would say. Daniel Dowling's evil father tried to punch him when he refused depraved demands for sex acts and threesomes. Young Daniel Dowling was made to watch Prawn and forced into threesomes. And when he refused to perform a sex act on his stepmom, his dad tried to punch him. Daniel was robbed of a normal childhood, replaced by a sordid existence which right-minded people will find hard to fathom. He's been haunted by his ordeal, even by the smell of his stepmom's perfume, for more than 20 years. But now he has seen his tormentors jailed after turning detective to prove the guilt of his father, an ex-Ministry of Defense worker. Ministry of Defense. Warped Richard Dowling was jailed for 5 years, and his ex-partner, Annette Breakspear, got 8. Never heard that last name before. Breakspear got 8. They are 62 now, but were 38 when the abuse began. Legal reasons prevented them from being identified before today, but they can finally be exposed after Daniel, 36, bravely waived his anonymity. He told the Sunday Mirror, "It was Dad's job to protect me. They stole my innocence and ruined my childhood. I can never get past that." Daniel will never forget the day the abuse began. It was a Sunday afternoon. Dowling and Breakspear were playing board game Frustration with Daniel at home in Bracknell Berks. Fashion retail manager Daniel, who now lives in Surrey, recalls, "Dad told me we were going to try something different, to take our clothes off whenever someone lost. By the end of the game, Annette was completely naked. They instructed me to touch and kiss her breasts. Dad was encouraging me to do it, so I thought it was okay. I think that night was a tester of how I'd react because intercourse started after that. Yeah, you're being groomed, son." Daniel's father had met former carer Breakspear through a Lonely Hearts ad after splitting from the lad's mother. During 3 years together, Breakspear stole Daniel's virginity and abused him more than 10 times. Eek! That's Breakspear. Once he was picked up by his dad from Scouts, taken home and told to give Breakspear a goodnight kiss, Daniel said, "I went into their room and she was handcuffed to the bed naked. I gave her a kiss and went to leave, but she asked me to touch her and to untie one of her hands, We had intercourse and Dad came in and joined in. All right. I don't need to know anymore. There you go. There's the guy now. Lots of damage, I'm sure. Lots of damage. There you have it. There you have it. I don't want to read any more about that abuse. But there you go. Some sickos. Sickos out there in this world of ours, huh? Speaking of sickos, kidnapped orangutan chained to dirty bed and forced into prostitution as a sex slave. Pony the orangutan was chained to a wall, lying in a dirty mattress with a full face of makeup and forced to have sex with men working in the nearby palm oil farm in Borneo, Indonesia for years. It's so wrong on so many levels. She was shaved daily, which left her skin irritated, covered in sores, and prone to mosquito bites. The orangutan was forced to wear jewelry and perfume, as well as taught how to perform sex acts. Wow. Wow. I guess I've never been that horny. You know, I mean, honestly, sex has never been a big deal to me. I've never thought it was like the end all be all, that it's something that, hey, I got to get that, man. Like, even if I haven't really even really cared a whole lot about a girl or been in love with her or whatever, it was just off the table. Like, it's never been something, I've never been some kind of player, or never needed to go out and just, get sex, man. I was addicted to porn years ago, but that was a little different. I wasn't running out and doing stuff in real life. Being addicted to porn's not cool either. I've left that behind a long time ago. Like, I'm better now, but I mean, never been so horny. There's a big difference between looking at something naughty on a computer screen or, putting lipstick on an orangutan and teaching it how to give you a hand job or something. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, there you go, guys. Oof. Unbelievable. Former teacher Michelle Desolates was director of Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation UK where Pony was rescued. She told The Sun online it was horrifying. She was a sex slave. It was grotesque. She was covered in abscesses, and they put makeup and earrings on her. I mean, this is like Sodom and Gomorrah type stuff, end of the world type stuff, Babylon, bestiality type stuff. She was covered in abscesses, and they put makeup and earrings on her. She must have been in so much pain. It was horrible to think about how terrified she must have been. It is not known exactly how long Pony was forced into sex slavery. Experts believe she was taken from her mother as an infant, and most orangutans usually stay with their mom for first 7 to 11 years of their lives. Pony was estimated to be around 6 years old when she was found. Lone Droscher Nielsen, who was in the team who rescued Pony in 2003, said, "When I found that she was used for prostitution and not just a pet, I was horrified." Right, there you go. More sicko Hollywood freakos here. Kate Beckinsale. I even heard stories about her when I lived out in LA and worked in television, many, many years ago. But, you'd hear stories all the time because you're working with people who've been working in the industry, a lot of them way longer than you, and they've worked on movies and old TV shows, and they've met so many people, and that was a lot of fun. It was like getting to know some of these people on these sets of these shows, and going out and having drinks with some of these people after work and just hearing the stories, man. They know it all. A lot of this stuff has really started opening my eyes up to what Hollywood really was too, and the way people were out there, but eventually got me to where I just wanted to have nothing to do with it. I moved there because I wanted to be in the industry and be a writer and director, make horror and science fiction movies. The longer you're there and the more you find out about your quote heroes, these idols, I don't see how anybody learning the kind of things I've learned up to now, and many of you learned too along the way. It's like, how could anybody want to be a part of that disgusting industry, right? But anyway, Kate Beckinsale boasts about facials from foreskin of South Korean infants. The stories I heard about her was just that she was, like been in a bunch of gangbangs and like super sexual, and that's how she was known in town, was to be like a hardcore vixen. Like, the whole sleeping on the couch for a part was totally not beyond her. A bunch of stuff like that. It's just, again, this is all gossip. Yeah, it's gossip, but Anyway, actress Kate Beckinsale took to social media to boast about a procedure to improve her skin that involves liquefied cloned foreskins. Sounds like a punk rock band. The liquefied cloned foreskins, from South Korean infants. After a long flight, I do like to lie down and be covered in a mask of liquefied cloned foreskins. After a long flight, she said this, I do like to lie down and be covered in a mask of liquefied cloned foreskins. Frankly, who doesn't? Oof, thank you for an amazing facial, she said. I especially liked you reassuring me it would be, quote, light on penis. It was my first time. X. Kate Beckinsale wrote in an Instagram post. According to Daily Mail, the Pearl Harbor actress underwent a facial for the first time last week that uses an epidermal growth factor serum containing stem cells cultivated from the discarded tissue of Korean baby boys. That is just... The article also reports experts claim rubbing these stem cells onto the face activates aging cells, producing more collagen and making fine lines disappear. It goes back to why there's power in the blood for these Satanists and occultists as well. And it's always the youth, right? It's the most powerful blood you can get is the youth of a baby. A lot of those SRA, sexual people who've survived sexual assaults and been in cults and stuff, a lot of them you'll hear about. A lot of the women were used just to reproduce, and they were constantly pregnant. They'd as soon as they'd have the baby, that baby would be killed in a ritual. And then they're knocking her up again in a gangbang or whatever, and next thing you know, she's got another baby 9 months later, killing that one too. I mean, this is what happens. Excuse me. Let me take a drink here real quick. Hope you guys are doing good. Hour and 40 minutes. Dang, these last few weeks have been a little bit longer. We still got a lot of stories to go, so thanks for letting me take a few breaks here and there for Chubbs and to get the door, Amazon, and now just to take a drink. Wet my whistle, as they say. So there we have it. There's your story. Article also reports experts claim rubbing these stem cells onto the face activates aging cells, producing more collagen and making fine lines disappear. The secret ingredient is sourced from South Korea because it has a large supply of foreskins obtained during circumcision, the general custom for young boys. All right. Let's see what the people said. First one said, America First says, I'm sure that's not the only time she's taken some cream of penis to the face. I'm sorry, folks. I just stumbled into that one. Don't be mad at me. I told you, people say gross things online. These square clouds, I've done some videos on these as well. There's a new one. New strange square cloud over Cleethorpes in England. Let's watch a little bit of this. I think this is a robo voice, so I may go ahead and just kill the volume and we'll look for some of the images here. There we go. There's some pretty good shots they got here. There's one. And some people try to say this is natural, but that's normal. I don't know. You think stuff like that's natural and normal? You think? I don't know. I always think geoengineering. This is like more proof that they're in control of the weather. Here's a good shot of one. Look at that one. There you go. That's about it. Just want to share a few of those with you, but the square clouds phenomenon. You might be new to this. If you are, look into it. This is very interesting stuff. Lots of footage over the last several years of these square clouds like this. This was a UFO Mania channel. Okay, so this right here was, I think this is kind of the doom break. Let me see. I may be wrong. Okay. Let me see. There's that and there's that. Yeah, so this is kind of a doom break. There's another one. We'll just, we'll come back to this. Let's do that because this is a good one. I really like it. But let's, it's just interesting. Here's another one. I thought it's a kind of a doom break. This is kind of right on the verge of being disturbing, but also kind of cute and funny. You decide. This is scary video of a baby addicted to a smartphone. Check this out.
Hi.
You see what I mean? I mean, it's almost a doom break, but it's also absolutely terrifying and horrifying at the same time. Cute baby, funny situation, makes me giggle. On the other hand, a nightmare, absolutely terrifying. And I know that this isn't the only child that's been conditioned like this. That being said, let's watch it one more time. I mean, that is funny. Look at the way the baby looks around. Like a golem. He reminds me of, what's that? Is it Golem? Is that the name of the creature from those Peter Jackson films? Lord of the Rings? Is it Golem? He's always trying to get the ring. This looks like Golem getting the ring. Even that, I mean, that is just, look at this. And then just the creepy way the little baby looks around. This is that.
Hi.
My precious, my precious.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. There's a side of me that could just watch that over and over and over again, but I've got to stop. There we go. Let's see what we got here. That's the orangutan story. All right, we did that one. This is pretty weird. This chest-mounted robot feeding arm could stuff your face when you're too full to move. Strap on a third robotic arm. This is just, it's kind of ridiculous, really. But for those celebrating Thanksgiving, at some point there will come a time where you're, here we go. So just the writing. Some of these people, you're supposed to be a writer. You're writing articles. Learn the basics. For those celebrating Thanksgiving today, at some point there will come a time where you is simply too full to move. At this point, the sensible action is to sleep it off before rising later in the day groggy and disoriented for a second gorging. But what if technology could help? What if instead of succumbing to your turkey stupor, some sort of chest-mounted robot arm could lob sweet treats into your open mouth? What a world that would be. We've not reached this gravy-soaked utopia yet, but researchers from Australia and India have taken us one step closer with Armadine, a robot arm worn in the middle of the chest that picks up food off the table and conveys it to you or your dining partner's mouth. I mean, are we really getting to that point? We're really that lazy? I need to save this one. That's another one I need to put that in an upcoming video. So it reminds me of a few things, but like, have you seen? I don't know which company. There's a bunch of companies that are producing these scooters. Have you seen this? This just popped up where I live over the last few months. It's like they came from out of nowhere, and then I saw South Park did a video about it, or an episode. So when I saw that, I knew that this apparently is happening other places. But literally, it feels like just overnight, all these scooters just kind of started showing up in town. And you can use your credit card or whatever. You can start it up with the card and charge it, and then ride the scooter for a while wherever you want to go, right? But I mean, I'm seeing this. It's just like, are we really that lazy? I mean, I get the scooter idea. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's a multi-million dollar idea. I can see that, but it's just, ugh. Is it really to that point? Like now you don't want to have a nice walk to the store around the corner anymore. It's just jump on a scooter and then get home and put your freaking third robot arm contraption on your stomach or chest and just have that lobbing sweet treats into your mouth. It's just, is this where we are? Pantsless man dies in police custody after Whataburger rampage. Whataburger rampage. Houston police say a man in his 40s was naked from the waist down when he walked into a Whataburger on the southwest side of town. Wait, this might be a video. Let's see. Okay, let's see what they say about this.
SATTERWHITE, Assistant Chief Homeland Security. So tonight at approximately 7 p.m., we had what appears to be a white male that was in crisis entered into the Whataburger, which is right across the street, and started destroying property. Obviously, he appeared to be in severe crisis. We don't know what caused it. He was disrobed with the exception of a shirt, and acting in such a violent and manner that the employees immediately called the police. They tried to evacuate out of the restaurant, and the male chased them out, attacked a female who is a manager at the restaurant, knocked her to the ground, and started assaulting her. The other employees managed to knock him off of them, and then the male ran off. Police were already en route. They captured him over here, or located him over here. The male continued to run from them. They were able to get him into custody or get hold of him, but there was a struggle to get him handcuffed. And once they got him handcuffed, they started to move him. He started struggling again. They finally got him in custody, got him in a way that they could control him and move him towards a patrol car. At that point, the male collapsed and became unresponsive. They immediately called for HFD to come out and check on him. Ambulance service arrived, transported him over to Southwest Memorial Hospital, and there, sadly, he expired. It's a very unfortunate, very tragic situation. We don't know what the cause of death is.
This whole thing's weird. They don't know what the cause of death is. Hours later, after being detained by police, he was dead. Okay. I don't know. Just weird crime stuff, I'm interested in these stories too, but especially when it's the naked stuff. I've done a video in the past on this where there were just tons. I should do an updated one, but there's tons of stories of people getting naked. That's the key component here, and then acting crazy, which is always the second part of this. So you got people getting naked and running around crazy and like making animal sounds and growling and attacking people. Some of them having superhuman strength. Happens a lot. Trust me, I've been seeing it for years. And this is what I do. This is stuff I look for. I've made videos about these things too, but it's interesting. It always makes me wonder. Not every case is going to be something spiritual, I know, but it's just something I always watch for, Leaked sex tape shows Buddhist monk taking part in drug-fueled gay orgy at a temple in Taiwan. think they have a clip, not of the orgy, you pervs, but there's a clip I think they have of some of it, of the guy doing drugs or something. Let's see. Kai Hung is his name. Kai Hung, 29, is recorded saying, "Do you want more? I love my husband, and my husband is super amazing," in one of the clips released by a local news outlet. The shocking footage of his wild gatherings was apparently leaked by Kai Hung's jilted ex-lover Sean Z as an act of revenge. It's claimed Sean Z wreaked his vengeance after Kai Hung was expelled from Tongshan Temple for his scandalous behavior. Kai Hung was once considered a devout disciple who had previously held the position of Secretary General at the Chinese Young Buddhist Association. The 29-year-old was arrested during a police raid at Chongfo Temple, where nuns had attempted to prevent officers from entering to give Kai Hung a chance to hide. He was eventually discovered with 19 grams of amphetamine tablets, Viagra, condoms, and a bottle of holy water filled with lube. The guy was ready to party. Anyway, there you go. It's a Buddhist monk. It's a monk. I think they might show some footage here. Let's see. Maybe.
哎呀妈！因为我爱我老公。
领导祈福法会诵经，他是中华佛教青年会秘书长开宏法师，口条清晰，经常在各大佛的戒律问题，是指开宏法师长期吸安，甚至还找来其他人有吸毒恶习的出家人。
There's that. We don't need to watch all the footage, but anyway, I think you get the general idea here. So let's move on a bit. World's worst tattoos will make you question whether these people knew they were getting inked for life. Check this out. These are actual tattoos. Life is for living. Be the best you can do. You can be. Boring. But you got the eye on the nipple. I get it. Here we go. Oh my gosh. No way. Can you believe that? Never don't give up. Don't you do it. Firkin, don't you do it. Eek! That is some scary stuff. Zombie baby. Gosh. People. Come on. Yeah, that is a terrible tattoo. Look at that. A blender with a heart in it. Heart in a blender. Got it. Gosh, man. It really always breaks my heart to see people do this to themselves. Like, just go that far. You know what I mean? It's a mania. Oh my gosh. Look at that. You know that's a tattoo, right? It's not a bandana. Look, he's bald. He's got the hair on the sides there. But he did the bandana with the patch over his eye. And a Chevy symbol on the other side. Oh boy. Golly, look at this. Unbelievable. I've seen worse. Like recently. Oh my gosh, look at that. What were you thinking? Wow. Okay. Trusts no one. All right. Elvis Presley. TCB with a lightning bolt. You know, he had a lot of jewelry, and that symbol, that was his symbol on a lot of his jewelry, was the TCB with a lightning bolt. Means taking care of business in a flash. That's what he said. But he was also into the occult, so the lightning bolt could have other meanings as well. He was deeply into the occult. So there's worst tattoos. There you go. Camel Girl, Elastic Skin Man, and a Two-Headed Mexican. The weird and wacky world of the real-life greatest showman freaks. You guys ever been to any of these kind of shows near kids? I think it's kind of on the way out, isn't it? I just went to the fair a few months ago when it came through town. I wasn't really looking for a freak show, so I don't even know if they still do it. I'm sure they do them, right? To some degree. But anyway, when I was a kid, I used to like going to see the freak show. I used to do it all the time back then, the carnivals. Okay, there you go. It's not too... Wait! Wow. It's her blonde hair all over her face. Wow. The two-headed Mexican. Look at that. Wild. Wow, it's so weird. Look at that kid. Mr. and Miss Battersby. Okay. Weird. 3 legs. Yeah, all right, fair enough. That wasn't quite as crazy as I thought it might be. It's pretty average, pretty tame, right? By today's standards, especially after going from looking at world's worst tattoos to that, it's really tame. California cult leader Unicole Unicron planned sex robot brothel with a twist. We did a story on him about a week ago, I believe, as well. Self-proclaimed cult leader Unicole Unicron signed off a recent video memo to followers with an important reminder: don't forget to ask your sex robot for consent. The line was a hint at Unicron's latest business venture, Eve's Robot Dreams, a consent-focused robot brothel that the cult leader hopes to open in West Hollywood, California. Details are scarce, but the idea is simple. Unicron expects to purchase and rent out sex robots by the hour to customers who want to make love to a life-size talking Barbie with a you know what, as long as the robot agrees to it. The robots made by sex doll manufacturer Real Doll can swivel their heads, move their mouths, and hold kinky conversations through a chatbot embedded in their skulls. Customers, in turn, can do pretty much whatever they want with them, provided they purchase their own, inserts. Okay, there you go. That's all I need to know. But I told you this stuff's moving fast, real fast. They're being serious. We're going to have sex robot brothels here in America, like in no time. Idaho family wins 4-year war on Christmas lawsuit against neighbors. Let's read this. An Idaho family has won $75,000 in a lawsuit after they claimed their homeowners association discriminated against them for religious beliefs when they tried to stop them hosting an annual 5-day-long nativity event that attracted thousands of people. A jury unanimously agreed with Jeremy and Christy Morris, known for putting on a festive extravaganza in the 5 days leading up to Christmas each year. After overwhelming evidence and witness accounts showed there was an Ebenezer Scrooge among HOA members. All the usual components of the more extravagantly decorated American houses around this time of year were featured by the couple, who have 3 young children, including bright lights, hymns, and even the often considered secular figure of Santa Claus. But even before the family moved into the Ferndale Drive home that they picked with consideration for hosting their yearly setup, the HOA had already shared a list of problems with their arrival in response to Morris asking how the event could be run with minimal upset. In a 2014 letter, they wrote, "It's not the intention of the board to discourage you from becoming part of our great neighborhood, but we do not wish to become entwined in an expensive litigation to enforce long-standing rules and regulations and fill our neighborhood with the hundreds of people and possible undesirables we have worked so hard to keep our area peaceful, quiet, and clean." And finally, I'm somewhat hesitant in bringing up the fact that some of our residents are non-Christians, so we need to cater to them, right? Or of another faith. So Christians always have to take the hits. That's the way it is. Now, don't even want to think of the problems that could bring up. So it's just the political correctness, just more of this foolishness. I know Christmas is a pagan holiday, but I look past it and look at it like a celebration of time with my family. You know what I mean? I'm not that hardcore. And you see people put Christmas lights up, and that's fine. I mean, again, we understand the occult history of this. 90% of the people out there don't, so I don't hold it against them, but just interesting, eh? Here you go. It's a war on Christmas. War on Christmas, but it looks like they may have won. So there you have it. All right. I'm bored with that one too. Let's move on. Just more of the, again, politically correct foolishness. Kevin Hart attacked over Cowboys and Indians birthday party. I don't know. I mean, I kind of understand it too. I mean, I'm Cherokee. I'm a quarter Cherokee Indian myself, but I'm not, I don't know. I'm not all hardcore about these kinds of things. It's just, come on, guys, really? We're Cowboys and Indians birthday party. There you go. People just too sensitive. And the problem is that, and this is what I'm waiting on as well. I was thinking the other day, whatever happened to heavy metal? Whatever happened to metal music? It's just totally disappeared for the most part, right? But look at how far this pendulum in our reality has been swinging to the left, far left, for so many years under Obama and everything else, just all around the world. And the way people are acting now, and you got my feels hurting, and all this, that people are all sensitive. I'm waiting on that pendulum to crash over to the other side. And unfortunately, it always swings too far and it stays for a long period of time. But I'm waiting for the backlash from all this. So I've been looking for, where's the new punk, new punk bands? Where's the new metal bands? Where's the really politically incorrect type stuff, in your face type, politically incorrect type stuff. And the problem with that, like I said, I mean, there's the natural side of me, the human side of me cheers that kind of anarchy, but then the spiritual side is, I know that that's no better either. It'll go too far the other way, and who knows what that's going to look like. So anyway, Chinese researcher claims first gene edited babies. Chinese researcher claims that he helped make the world's first genetically edited babies, twin girls born this month whose DNA he said he altered with a powerful new tool capable of rewriting the very blueprint of life. Wow. If true, it would be a profound leap of science and ethics. A U.S. scientist said he took part in the work in China, but this kind of gene editing is banned in the United States because the DNA changes can pass to future generations, and it risks harming other genes. Many mainstream scientists think it's too unsafe to try, and some denounce the Chinese report as human experimentation. The researchers said he altered embryos for 7 couples during fertility treatments, with 1 pregnancy resulting thus far. He said his goal was not to cure or prevent an inherited disease, but to try to bestow a trait that few people naturally have, an ability to resist possible future infection with HIV, the AIDS virus. Oh, man, playing God, these people. Oh boy. He said the parents involved declined to be identified. Okay. All right, there you go. Chinese researcher claims first gene-edited babies. In 20 years, we'll look back on the rush to change our children's sex as one of the darkest chapters in medicine, says psychotherapist Bob Withers. Says, let me be absolutely clear. I am in no doubt there are people who feel they are one gender while having the body of the other. Living with such constant internal conflict is horrifying for many of those affected, and it should never be ignored. No one should seek to suppress another person's genuinely held sexual orientation or gender identity. Okay, we get it. But the question we must ask ourselves today is this: how do we decide whose needs are genuine, and how then should we treat them? Tavistock. Look into Tavistock if you don't know much about them, guys. They're behind a lot of trends. They're a lot of the trend. They're a trendsetter. Tavistock. I've been a psychotherapist for more than 30 years, and in that time, I've worked with a small but significant number of patients who wish to change gender. For everyone's sake, I believe that surgery, which is irreversible, should only ever be a last resort. We should always begin by working to help the mind fit better with the body before we start altering the body to fit the mind. Yet in today's NHS, professionals are enabling hundreds, possibly thousands of teenagers to have major surgery to change their gender. It is being done almost unchallenged in the name of transgender rights, but in 20 years' time, I believe we will look back on this folly as one of the darkest periods in the history of modern medicine. Duh, right? Duh. It's being too permissive, this permissive culture as it is. Because you don't want to hurt people's feelings, you know? You don't want to hurt those feels. Mother of 654, who was told by a GP she was possessed by demons, then taken to an exorcism as she recovered from bowel operation, sues for $50,000 mental trauma. Depressed mother of 6 today launched legal action against her doctor's surgery over claims one GP told her she was possessed by the devil and took her to an exorcism. Sally Brayshaw, 54, was recovering from bowel surgery, but also had chronic back pain, depression, and other mental health problems. All right. The former special constable wanted to discuss her depression, but claims locum GP Dr. Thomas O'Brien tried to heal her without medicine. She says the Pentecostal Christian spoke to her in tongues, told her she was possessed by demons, and visited her home where he tried to indoctrinate her with religious TV shows. She's now locked in a high court battle with the surgery's partners, who she is suing for $50,000 over claims she has been left mentally scarred. All right. Here you go. GP, I'm guessing that's general practitioner. I'm not sure. Here's one for you, man. You're looking for a new job? Get paid thousands of dollars to travel and smoke weed. What's this all about? While a passion for adventure and smoking weed might not qualify you for a job in the corporate world, it might actually give you a leg up on the competition for this unique position. Heavy Hitters, a Southern California vape company, is looking to hire 20 national ambassadors. These Heavy Hitters Originals ambassadors will be responsible for promoting their vape cartridges at a variety of events and on social media. You don't have to be an internet celebrity, but if you have some basic social media chops and a passion for cannabis, this position might be for you. The job description's tagline reads, "Travel, smoke weed, get paid." And it truly looks as simple a job as that. Each ambassador will be generously compensated, earning $1,200 each a month in cash, plus a $500 credit for Heavy Hitters products. They'll also enjoy all expenses paid travel to cannabis events, be among the first to try new strains and products from Heavy Hitters, and work closely with prominent dispensaries. To be considered, upload a 1-minute YouTube video of yourself in which you explain why you love Heavy Hitters, what makes you original, and speak to any special skills or talents you may have. Then upload the video to Instagram with the @heavy tag. And there you go. That's how you do it, guys. You're welcome. There's your new job. You're going to get paid thousands of dollars to travel and smoke weed. It'd be interesting to talk to somebody who's actually done that and see what that's like. Parents outraged after sex ed video of same-sex kissing, sexual touching is shown to kids. They're so pushing this, man. I'm seeing it in commercials all the time too. What they're doing is too, they're really glamorizing, lesbians. They're glamorizing the lesbians. There's a show I just stumbled on the other night called, Legends of Tomorrow. And the opening sequence I told you guys, I think a week ago, is just two beautiful, looks like model type ladies with their paws all over each other because they're in a lesbian relationship. And it was going nowhere. It was just these hot chicks rubbing up on each other for the first few minutes. It's like, okay, fine. I get it. This is like a show that a lot of kids like and teens and stuff. So maybe that's just more of the programming. A lot of commercials I've noticed lately are showing really, really attractive women that are in lesbian relationships. Glamorizing it, making it sexy, right? I mean, we're seeing this a lot. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all by this. Of course, we're going to see more of this stuff. Glamorizing it, like I said, making it sexy. You're not going to see the lesbians in these commercials that look like Rosie O'Donnell. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be rude, but it's true. You're not going to see those lesbians. You're not going to see lesbians that look like your Uncle Frank. You're looking at girls that are like models, really, really pretty girls. They're making it sexy, attractive, not just for the women, because of course they're trying to lead women into this stuff to turn the natural use of their bodies towards one another, but also to entice the men. I hear jerks all the time say that. Yeah, man, the lesbian thing's cool, man. The gay stuff though, with dudes, no way, man. But yeah, man, I'm into that lesbian stuff. It's like, we're not supposed to be into any of that stuff, man. We're not supposed to be giving over our lusts to any of that kind of stuff, especially the gay thing. God speaks against that multiple times. Now, again, it doesn't mean that we hate gay people or whatever. It's just, you shouldn't celebrate your sin. Right? That's the way I see it. And this is going to be a big part of what's coming our way. This end time, one world religion. It's going to be the love is love stuff, man. And it's going to be promoting the gay thing. Of course, promoting it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, natural thing. God meant for men to force their erect penises into other men's dookie holes. That's what people, honestly, that's what the world is telling us. This is a beautiful thing. This is something that God did for us. It's a beautiful way for men to show how much they care about each other, to force their erect parts into another man's doo-doo hole. This is a beautiful way to show how much you love somebody. All right? Beautiful. But really, it's, I'm not into celebrating the sin of it. It's love the sinner, hate the sin. Same with myself, or, ourselves, with everybody out there. We're all judged like that. The Lord loves us, but hates our sin. And, we're all in a broken state. A lot of Christians do like to act holier than thou. They're holier than everybody else, but I'm certainly not one of those. I've got plenty of faults, plenty of things I'm grappling with and dealing with. But I just see homosexuality as what it is. It is a sin. It's not something we should be giving into. It's not something you should, be acting out. If you're wanting to please your Heavenly Father, that's the way I see that. Again, I'm not being the judge and jury on this. I've got plenty of issues in my life. We all have to deal with stuff. We're all trying to, be good kids for our Father, our Heavenly Father. Maybe not all of us, but some of us are trying. British doctors may soon prescribe art, music, dance, and singing lessons. This is interesting, eh? An ambitious initiative unveiled this week by British Health Secretary Matt Hancock may soon enable the country's doctors to prescribe therapeutic art or hobby-based treatments for ailments ranging from dementia to psychosis, lung conditions, and mental health issues. Writing for The Times, Kat Lay explains that this unconventional strategy, described by the UK government as social prescribing, could find parents or patients enrolled in dance classes and singing lessons, or perhaps enjoying a personalized music playlist. We've been fostering a culture that's popping pills and Prozac. And when what we should be doing is more prevention and perspiration, Hancock said on Tuesday at a speech. Social prescribing can help us combat over-medicalizing people. According to the Telegraph's Laura Donnelly, the proposal, which arrives on the heels of a larger preventative health scheme, provides for the creation of a National Academy for Social Prescribing that will ensure general practitioners or GPs across the country are equipped to guide patients to an array of hobbies, sports, and arts groups. It's awesome. I think this is great, but isn't it also sad that now it's people in the world have become so lazy, so docile, that now we have to be prescribed art, music, dance, and singing lessons from a doctor. Like that's where we're at now. That's very interesting to me. We've become so entranced with, or so locked into this matrix with the internet and our phones and tweeting people more than talking and things like this. And now doctors have to prescribe art, music, dance, and singing lessons. This is just more of that foolishness. Media creating stories. It's not reporting, it's creating. Here's one if the picture ever comes up. Oh, yeah, there it is. You've probably seen this picture by now, the mom and the children running from the tear gas. This is at the border in America. This is over in Texas. Or Mexico, sorry. Okay, there's that. Where's the rest of the story? Okay, there it is. Sorry. Anyway, people started picking this thing apart and realizing that there's all these other setups. And this is a picture that mainstream media is running with. A lot of liberal rags magazines are running with this. Look how evil America is, how evil Trump is, and this poor lady and her children running from the smoke. But if you look over here, there's tons of cameramen, actually people setting up cameras on legs, and you got all these people posing in all these different areas. The cameramen are hanging out here, and all these other people are just posing. So this is obviously another one of those situations. Media all share the same photo of women and kids gassed. Perpetrators of invasion instantly become victims in the new narrative. Congratulations, you've been hoaxed. There you go. There you go. Just one I wanted to share for y'all, just so you can look into, because it's another really long story. But 50 tips from the Great Depression. The Great Depression was one of the most traumatic events in American history. Of course, this is from November of this year, and it's over on 7pod.com. Look up 50 tips from the Great Depression. Very interesting. Everything: money, housing, clothes, society, and attitudes. That might be a fun one just to do a video on and just read them out, and put some images over it and put that on the website or something. Maybe I'll do that. They're good tips too. Just the headline mainly. I wanted to show you: mom says 6-year-old son is transgender. Dad disagrees. Now he might lose his son. More of this stuff. The V, the 5, the 5th age with the rainbow. Of course. Because the rainbow is going to be a big part of the 5th age. The last age of man. The New World Order. The Antichrist beast system. And homosexuality is going to play a major role. Again, they're weaponizing it, and they're going to be using it. It's going to be used. It doesn't mean that every person who's gay out there is a completely evil and a demon or anything like that. They're struggling with their demons. I get that. It's not going to be and of course there's people that, I don't even want to get on this subject. I remember last time we did this, it got really ugly. I remember that now. Suddenly I remember. There's things I have to learn to just not talk about, I guess, Even like the video I did on God talking through numbers. I mean, wow. The backlash was really rough on that one. You don't see the comments because I usually block these people when they're being jerks, but I guess I got to be careful. I don't like being careful about what I talk about because I'm not trying to say I'm right about everything. I have my own opinions and views, and now I'm rambling. Mom says 6-year-old son's trans. Dad disagrees. Now he might lose his son. A Texas father is fighting for his son in court after pushing back on his ex-wife's claim that their 6-year-old son's a transgender girl. According to court documents, the young boy only dresses as a girl when he's with his mother, who has enrolled him in first grade as a female named Luna, which I think Luna means moon, I think. The father, however, contends that his son consistently chooses to wear boys' clothes, violently refuses to wear girls' clothes at my home, and identifies as a boy when he's with me. The Federalist reports that the mother has accused the father of child abuse in their divorce proceedings for not affirming James as transgender and is looking to strip the dad of his parental rights. She is also seeking to require him to pay for the child's visits to a transgender affirming therapist and transgender medical alterations, which may include hormonal sterilization starting at the age of 8. The father has been legally barred from speaking to his child about sexuality and gender from a scientific or religious perspective and from dressing his son in boys' clothes. Instead, he has to offer both girls' and boys' outfits. The boy consistently refuses to wear dresses, according to the father. The boy was diagnosed with gender dysphoria by a gender transition therapist the mother, a pediatrician, chose for her son. According to the therapist's notes, the boy chose to identify as a girl when he was in sessions alone with his mother. Alternatively, he chose to identify as a boy when he was in sessions alone with his father. Moreover, the father has collected testimony from parents of his son's friends and a church leader who say they only seen the 6-year-old identify as a male. The boy's pastor said, based on the 3 occasions I've spent time with him, I'd say he acts and looks unmistakably like a healthy 6-year-old boy. I'm praying for him, an average 6-year-old boy, a sweet-natured, intelligent, lovable, and at this point particularly vulnerable young man caught up in a titanic clash of worldviews. His mother came to pick up the boys to take them to his brother's soccer game, recalled Sarah Scott, a family friend. He hugged his dad and said, "I love you." He refused to go to the soccer game as a girl with mom and stayed with dad. That evening, they came to our house. Needless to say, the gender dysphoria diagnosis is being contested by the boy's father. Starting to see what's happening here? Walt Heyer, author of Trans Life Survivors and former transgender female, warns that the potential diagnosis could ruin the boy's life, similar to what he went through after he was secretly cross-dressed by his grandmother for 2.5 years as a young boy. The diagnosis is critical because labeling a child with gender dysphoria can trigger a series of physical and mental consequences for the child and has legal ramifications in the ongoing custody case. Get it wrong, Heyer writes of Federalist, the boy's life is irrevocably harmed. The boy's precious young life hinges purely on the diagnosis of gender dysphoria by a therapist who wraps herself in rainbow colors, affirms the diagnosis of gender dysphoria, and dismisses evidence to the contrary, argues Heyer. Remove the rainbow from the diagnosis and it crumbles under the weight of the criteria for the diagnosis of gender dysphoria. The author warned, if we do not save the boy from a misdiagnosis, his next step is chemical castration at the age of 8, only 2 years away. Jim Bob says this woman should be charged with child endangerment at the least. I can't wait to see this story unfold as we get a good look at her friends who are standing by her as she manipulates the mental state of this child. Yeah. Yes. Not Munchausen by proxy, but is it? This could be a bit of Munchausen by proxy. That's what the movie I mentioned earlier is about, Proxy. It's about Munchausen by proxy also. It's also about psychopathic narcissists battling each other, but it's also about typically mothers who put their children into bad situations, make the children sick. Maybe they don't feed them right. Some of them poison them, things like this, so that they can get attention, so the mother can have attention and show like what a good mother she is. My poor child has all these issues, but I'm here for him or her. I'm going to take care of him. So maybe this is a bit of that Munchausen by proxy, but what a shame that is. If that's really what's happening and this lady is like forcing her child into this trans thing, that is just absolute, as if it wasn't already child abuse, right? That's child abuse. Swedish police admit they cannot cope with huge numbers of violent rapes since Muslim migrants arrived. Many go free. Just throwing that out there. Oh, look, Jews news. I didn't realize that's Jews news. But Swedish police admit they cannot cope with huge numbers of violent rapes since Muslim migrants arrived. I remember when they were, let me see, this is Swedish, right? Sweden anti-rape commercial. Am I right? Am I wrong? What is this? There it is. Yeah. So I remember when a few years ago when all this started happening in Sweden and they started letting the migrants in, you started seeing all these stories about this, about the increase in rape and all this. But it was kind of funny. It's also really sad, but there was a good commercial up. I don't know which one it is or where it is now. It was like anti-rape commercials in Sweden. And it was ridiculous that they had to do that in the first place. And of course, they're not going to work. But anyway, here's a little UFO video. This is one I picked up on from the week. Pretty interesting. We'll take a quick look at it, and then we'll look at the final story. Hold on 1 second. Here we go.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, sorry about the language.
But it went out and it ignited back up. That is a trail of fire. Without a doubt.
That's a shooting star.
No way, dude. No shooting star, bro.
It's interesting. Again, watch the way it's moving and then watch what happens. I know it starts with this guy cussing. Sorry, I forgot to warn you. But anyway, here you go.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know. But it went out and it ignited back up. That is a trail of fire. Without a doubt.
That's a shooting star.
No way, dude.
No shooting star burns that long.
That does.
If it's shot through the damn atmosphere, look, it just stopped.
It just stopped? What? What?
It's that.
Oh my god. Now go to the side.
No, it is.
Oh.
You see the other one just manifest right behind it, but I always see this as the fallen ones. You know, just more shows in the sky for us. You know, just kind of slowly prepping, and this happens all around the world. Oftentimes, it's the orbs, right? Shape-shifting orbs. So there's that one, and here is one I wanted to share with you as well. 21 more weird animals you didn't know exist. Wait till you see these things. I'm hoping I can just bring up, and I can't. I got to scroll it down. But anyway, look at this. Red-lipped batfish. It's incredible. Look at this thing, man. That's real. Goblin shark. Wow. Can you imagine? The face on that thing. Goblin shark. Panda ant. It's cute. It's a cute ant. Penis snake. Yeah, it speaks for itself. Umbania spinosa. Look at this thing. It's cool, huh? Lowland streaked tenrec. This thing's amazing too. That little guy. Madagascar. Wow, that's cool. Hummingbird hawk moth. Look at this thing. Beautiful, huh? Glaucus atlanticus. Looks like an animated character, doesn't it? Look at that. Oh, look how little it is. It's cute. Mantis shrimp. Wow, that's cool too. Mantis shrimp. Beautiful colors. Venezuelan poodle moth. Look at that face. Look at those eyes. Almost looks like horns, though, huh? Almost looks like a little Baphomet. Ugh. Aw, look at this guy. Pacu fish. Look at those teeth. Looks like humans' teeth. Giant isopod. This thing is like nightmare fuel. Wait till you see the other side. Ah! Look at that. Wow. Saiga antelope. Cool looking. Aw. It's pretty. Bush viper. Hate snakes, but that's a really pretty one, huh? Ah, look at that. Parrotfish. It's pretty. Smiling. Look at that. He looks like he's got a little smile. Indian purple frog. Eek, gross. Shoebill. Wow, that's cool looking too. Look at that. It's amazing. Look at these guys. Okapi. It's beautiful. Narwhals. Thorny dragon. Sea pig. Look at that thing. Sea pigs. There you go. Those are cool. Thought I'd share weird animals you've probably never seen before. And that concludes the end of my stories for the night. So I'm going to jump over here to the chat room real quick, say hi. And again, guys, thanks for being here, man. Thanks for checking out the show. Thanks for your patience with my work, my videos. Like I said, I beat myself up. I always wish I could finish things quicker, but I have to take time and piece these together. And first off, I have to make sure they matter. I want to make sure that I'm making videos that, matter, that they help people, that they're enlightening, first and foremost. So I got a couple more I'm working on, should be up this week. I've been updating my website more, who is KJ Osborne. Please check that out. If you like my shows, my videos, and everything else, my chat shows and videos, you want to support my work, check out my Patreon page. There'll be a link on my website. I'll also leave a link below. Thanks for the mods, too. Mods, for doing such a good job. Hey, I'll tell you all this. I'm just going to be transparent about all this. But anyway, and just so we can just put it all out there and air it out, and there's nothing hidden or whatever. But it's weird. I've been getting more people kind of writing me, the last couple of weeks about the mods. Like some people complain, they think that they hog the conversation, I guess. Some of them, now one of my mods is kind of into the flat earth stuff, and I don't hold that against them. Like that's something they recently got into. But now I've got people writing me asking me why I'm into flat earth and when I got into it and stuff. And it's like, so just, for the record, my mods are their own individuals. They have their own thoughts and everything. And, I'm not into the flat earth, never have been, never will be, but I'm friends with people that are into it. I believe it or not, that some of us can still do that in this world. You can still be friends with people you disagree with, so I'm one of them. Another message I've been getting is some people are saying one of the mods is pushing, sacred name stuff, like that you got to use God's proper name or whatever. And again, I don't see this stuff because I'm never watching the chat, but for the record, I'm not into that either. I'm not, again, my mods have their own views and thoughts and everything. I think, 4-year-old child on their, curled up next to their bed, clasping their hands and saying, God, will you please help my mommy? God's going to hear them. God understands. We know there's different names for God, but God's not going to stand up there arrogantly shaking his head like, well, I would if somebody knew my name, so I'm not into this sacred name stuff. I'm not into any of that stuff. I mean, all these things are very divisive. Now, again, whatever my friends are into, that's their thing, but I'm not into it. Okay. So that's all. I still love my mods. I'm just putting that out there, just saying. Okay. And I love you guys, man. I really appreciate you being here. Again, thanks so much. I got some great videos on the way, man. I just got to finish them up. I'm waiting on a couple more stories to fall on my lap. And then I think they'll be ready. And like I said, I'll be updating my website more. I can do a different kind of video there. I can't do it on YouTube because I have to watch my copyright strikes on YouTube. Okay. And on my website, I don't worry about that at all. So I'm rambling. We've gone a long night again tonight. Wow, 2.5 hours. So I'll just say I love you guys. Thanks so much once again for being here. And I'll talk to you later. Be looking for more work from me this week.